Matt Palmer and will receive.
That means they'll be going into a 24-mile-an-hour wind as they move from left to right, from north to south. The Vikings taking the wind at their back, and the wind is going to be a factor. The flags are straight out. In fact, it bends the goalpost several feet as the gusts come up 24 miles an hour.
Well, it's a rather breezy day, as you've mentioned, but it's mild. The temperature 52 degrees. It'll get into the mid-50s this afternoon. Fred Cox moves forward now. Bashnagel waiting deep, and there's the kick. And Freddie hammers it down the middle, and Bashnagel will take it at the 5-yard line. Behind the wedge, moving to the left side of the 20, and slips and falls as he crosses the 25 to the 26-yard line. Down quickly to make the tackle, Nate Allen along with Mark Keller, a reserve running back out of Northern Illinois. A 21-yard return for Bashnagel, who leads the NFC in kickoff returns with a 24.4 average. So the Bears will take over, 1st and 10 on their own 26-yard line as we start play here this afternoon. Avellini has completed 96 passes for 1,267 yards. He has a percentage of just over 49%. He has thrown for 8 touchdowns. He's had 11 picked off. Wing to the right is Schubert. Wide to the left is Scott. Hand off to Walter Payton. Sliding to the right side. It pops out of the 30 to 35 to 40 to 45 to 50 and out of bounds. It's Viking territory, knocked out by Paul Kraus at about the 46-yard line. And there's a 28-yard run by Mr. Explosion himself on the very first play of the ball game.
Nice way to start the game. Steve Schubert's in there, the wide receiver, in place of Bo Rather. Rather not in uniform today. He's out with the flu. He came down with the flu on Thursday. Instead of getting better, he got worse. Payton and Noah Jackson had the flu, but they're okay. Also on the inactive list is the tight end Chuck Bradley out with the flu.
29-yard pickup for Walter Payton. First down for the Bears on the Vikings. 46-yard line. Bashnagel wide to the near side. Scott standing wide to the left. Deuce backfield to give to Robin Earl up the middle. Big haul inside the 40. And he carries a couple of Viking tacklers down to the 37-yard line. Matt Blair, the left side linebacker in his 4th year from Iowa State, a 230-pounder, made the tackle on the play. But the big 242-pound, 6'5" rookie running back from Washington ripped up a nice chunk up the middle, an 8-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
Plays coming in off the bench. Bashnagel and Schubert are the two carriers with the communications for the Bear bench.
Slot left, Deuce backfield. Payton on the left, Earl on the right. 2nd down 2. And the give on a cross buck to Payton, sliding to the right side, hit, and falls forward across the 35 to about the 33.5-yard line. Doug Sutherland made the tackle on the play. First down for the Bears. They're second on their initial possession, and they're off and running against the Vikings here this afternoon. The ball spotted at the Viking 34-yard line. Bashnagel back in with a play replacing Steve Schubert, a 4-year pro out of the University of Massachusetts.
Bears figure to be able to run the ball. They get the #1 rushing offense in the league, and the Vikings only 19th in rushing defense.
Wide to the left is Scott. Wing back to the right. Hand off to Payton. There's a repeat of the first play. Bounces away from the tackler at the 30 and out of bounds. At the 25-yard line, Walter Payton. Carl Weller had him, couldn't hold him. And Fred McNeil and Sutherland finally chased him out of bounds on the near sidelines. That was a repeat of the very first play of the ball game. And Payton carried it down, and they're going to mark the ball, I believe, inside the 25-yard line. They may call for a measurement on the near sidelines. Walter Payton with 1,129 yards, leading the entire National Football League in rushing with an average of 5.7 a carry. He has scored 10 touchdowns, which is tops in the league. 9 on the ground. He has caught 1 pass for a touchdown. And he became last week the first Chicago Bear ever to rush for 1,000 yards on successive seasons. And 6 times this year he's gone over the century mark, including a high of 205 yards against the Green Bay Packers. First down for the Bears, number 3 in this march, and Payton has 43 yards and 3 carries.
Noah Jackson gave him a good block there, but he still had to beat Carl Eller and Nate Wright on his own as he made the big run out of that to pick up the first down.
Scott wide to the left. Schubert has a wing to the right. The backs are split about 5 yards apart in the deuce. First down at the Viking 24-yard line. And the left tackle, Ted Albrecht, jumps offside. The first flag of the ball game, a 5-yard offside call against the Bears coming up, will make it 1st and 15 and move the ball back out to the Viking 29.
Nobody feels worse than Ted Albrecht. Boy, it really bugs him, he says, to get any kind of a penalty, because they post those penalties on the bulletin board out at camp. And Albrecht has been coming up with an average of 1 penalty a game. Noah Jackson went over and tried to say, look, let's forget about it. Let's go. Let's get this thing going.
Albrecht, of course, the #1 draft choice out of California. 6'4", 253 pounds, a great athlete. Scott again, standing wide to the left. Wing to the right. Deuce backfield on 1st and 15 to give to Robin Earl. He blasts up the middle and carries Blair with him a couple of more yards down to about the 22-yard line. Matt Blair hit him up high around the shoulder pads. And that's like trying to contain a Brahma bull. And he carried it all the way down to the 21-yard line, right up the slot from the right side of center Dan Piper behind Reeve Sori, a pickup of 8 on the play. And the Vikings already have given up 59 yards to the Bears on the ground in this very first drive.
Grabbing Earl by the shoulders like trying to lasso a Sherman tank.
Second down, 7. The Bears at the Viking 21. Wide to the left is Schubert. Wide to the near side is Scott. Deuce backfield with Payton on the right. And on a draw to Walter Payton. Tried the slide to the outside. Caught and dropped at the 19. It was closed off very quickly. And Walter ran right up the backside of Reeve Sori, who was trying to block for him. And Doug Sutherland came across to chop him down. And they'll mark it to the Viking 19. A gain of 2. It'll be third down and 5 for the Bears.
That's right. He had no hole at all. He ran right to the back of 2 of his blockers who were trying to wedge out that hole for him, but couldn't do it. So, third down, almost 6 yards to go. Bears going into a 24-mile-an-hour wind at the 19.
Again, Scott wide to the left. He's caught 25 passes this year. And the draw to Payton up the middle. Bangs into one man, gets to the 16, and then is pushed back. Walter Payton running in heavy traffic. And Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker, was the man who made the big hit on the play. And the Vikes have held the Bears here short of first down territory at the Minnesota 16. It'll be fourth down and 2, and Bob Thomas and the field goal unit come onto the field. And Thomas is trying to break a slump here. He's missed his last 3 attempts. He was 9 for 12 at one time in the year. He is now 9 of 15. And last week, he hooked a 29-yarder, had a 39-yard effort, hit the crossbar. Both at this end, by the way. Baschnagel will hold. It'll be a 34-yard attempt as Baschnagel will put it down on the AstroTurf at the 24-yard line. Danny Neal into center. Watch Matt Blair. And there's all kinds of movement on the line. And the Bears say that the Vikings moved. The Vikings are saying that the Bears moved. And if it's a 5-yard penalty against the Vikes, it'll be a first down for the Bears.
Well, the Vikings can move. It's going to be on the Bears, I'm pretty sure.
Blair was doing all kinds of stunning behind the line, and it's going to be illegal motion against the Bears. 5-yard penalty, and that'll move it back out to the 21 and make it a 38-yard attempt into this very, very stiff 24, 25-mile-an-hour wind out of the south.
Boy, that Viking defense somehow has the number of the Bears specialty team on kicks. I think it's almost like they got him psyched out there.
Well, it could very well be. They blocked 2 in the first game this year. They blocked 3 in 2 games last year. Then they were blocking against everybody. All right, Baschnagel will hold. The snap is down. It's going to be a fake, and Baschnagel throws, and it's incomplete. He underthrew his intended receiver, who was Don Reeves on the play, and Baschnagel never really got the ball away as he ran to the left side. And so the Bears fake a field goal and come up empty-handed, and the Vikes will take over at their own 21-yard line.
He was trying to run left and throw right, which is very difficult to do, and he threw a knuckleball.
Timeout with 11:38 left to go in the first quarter of play here at Soldier Field. There's no score.
The folks at Checker Oil Company are celebrating their 25th year of selling good gas for less. To help celebrate this 25th birthday, we went out to chat with some nice people and to thank them for stopping in to fill up at Checker.
We're having a birthday party today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. And what is your name, please?
Linda Herser.
With a smile like that, you've got to meet this man over here. This is the president of Checker Oil Company, Mr. Richard Small.
Hi. How do you do?
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, my pleasure.
This is the 25th anniversary of Checker Oil Company. We'd like you to help us celebrate by saying our slogan for us.
Checker for 25 years. It's been a gas.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
All the folks at Checker would like to say thank you. Thank you for doing business with Checker. Yes, for 25 years, it's been a gas.
Next time you drive into Checker, ask for your Chicago Bears football schedule. It's free just for the asking at Checker gas stations.
First down for the Vikes on their own 21-yard line. Deuce backfield, slot to the right. Now coming in motion to the near side is Sammy White. Last year's Rookie of the Year. Quick pitch to Foreman. He drops the ball, picks it up, and there's flags all over the play, and the play will be whistled dead right there. Lee was going to pitch to Foreman, moving to the right side. It was a bad pitch off, and there were 2 or 3 penalty flags thrown at about the same time, and they're going to have a confab down there. The referee is Gordon McCarter. The umpire is Paul Trapinski. Head linesman Jerry Seaman. The line judge is Nathan Jones. The back judge, Ray Douglas. And Armin Terzian is the field judge. You may recall it was Terzian a couple of years ago in that playoff game up in Minnesota that was hit in the head with a whiskey bottle thrown out of the stands by one of the disgruntled Viking fans after the Cowboys had scored in the final minute of the ball game.
I recall that very well. Tom Hicks, the second-year man out of Illinois, is the starting middle linebacker in place of Don Reeves today, and he is flanked by Jerry Muckenstern, playing in place of Doug Buffone and Wayman Bryant.
The Bears have had a ton of injuries, but in the last week or so, they've had to combat the flu bug as well. 5-yard penalty against the Vikes. Spread formation to give to Chuck Foreman on the first carry. Tried to spin away from Wayman Bryant. Anchored and thrown back at the 15-yard line. He may have gotten a yard up to the 16. Tom Hicks, his middle linebacker, as Brad just mentioned, starting in place of Don Reeves, made the initial contact on the play. Hicks in his second year out of the University of Illinois. He was a 6th-round draft choice in 1975.
Billy Newsome missed him, but Hicks and Wayman Bryant got him.
Well, they mark it at the 18-yard line, which is about a yard or two upfield farther than I thought he got on the play. 2nd down and 13. Rashad wide to the near side. White split wide to the right. Deuce backfield of McClanahan and Foreman. And Bobby Lee back to pass. Swings it out in the right flat to Foreman. He's got 2 men to beat. Tries to juke away, and he is brought down at the 22-yard line. A nice tackle by Gary Fensick, the strong safety who leads the club in tackles with 92 in his second year from Yale.
Fensick and Muckensturm had him dead to rights over there. He wasn't going to go anywhere when he got that football. Foreman is the leading receiver on the Vikings with 34 catches, and he led them last year as well with 55 catches.
The year before, he had 74 to lead the league.
He's rushed for 714 yards so far this year, going for 1,000 for the 3rd straight year.
3rd down and 9. The Vikes on the 22. Their own 22. Rashad wide to the near side. It's a double wing right with a slot. Tight end is split about 3 yards. And Lee on a draw. Goes to Chuck Foreman. Bangs away on one man. He gets across the 25 and struggles up near the 28-yard line, but he's going to be short of the first down. Fensick finally pinned him down with help from Billy Newsome, the right defensive end.
Doug Buffone was in there that time as Bryant moved over to middle linebacker.
Doug Buffone out of a hospital bed. He was in the hospital for about a week with viral pneumonia. Played one play down in Houston 2 weeks ago and missed last week's ball game because of the illness. But the Bears have had Payton, Jackson, and a few others with a flu bug this week. Schubert is back, and Claybo in the punt, averaging 39.9 a kick, but a net of 32.4. He gets it away. High floating spiral of the wind. Schubert lets it bounce. Now it's going to roll dead at the Bear 25, bounces back upfield to the 26-yard line. One of the Vikings down on one knee makes the play to down the ball. And so the Bears will take over at their own 26-yard line, a 46-yard wind-aided punt by Claybo, but the Vikes had a man downfield too quickly. They'll bring it back.
Well, Minnesota Vikings may be uptight, huh?
Well, that's a penalty that's called so much, Brad, with the rule change in the last 3 years. The one thing that surprised me there again is the fact that Schubert did not catch that ball and go with it. He had some running room, but he let it bounce.
Yeah, I think he seemed a little unsure of himself. Maybe the fact that the wind had something to do with it, but he didn't take it in the bounce either. And
Schubert, by the way, leads the NFC in punt returns with a 10.9 average. He's got one touchdown on a 70-yarder on opening day here against Detroit.
So each team has already had 2 penalties, and they've each had the ball one time.
Well, Claybo will kick it away again on 4th and 8 now. The ball, the line of scrimmage, the Viking 23. There's the snap. Not much of a rush. And he hits a line driver. Bouncing inside the 40, and this one's going to help the Vikings as it rolls inside the Bear 20, down to the 15, and it's going to roll dead inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. Claybo hit a line driver away from Bashnagel, and it bounced at the 30 and carried all the way down on the roll inside the Bear 10 at the 9-yard line. A 68-yard punt by Claybo, his longest of the year. And with 9:16 left to go in the first quarter here at Soldier Field, there's no score. The Bears nothing, the Vikings nothing.
This is Joe McConnell, voice of the Chicago Bears, with something to say about the hot team in the 78 New Car Conference. From where I sit, that team is the new Buick Regal Sport Coupe and Buick's new exclusive turbo-powered V6 engine. The Regal gives you new luxury car elegance in a mid-size car, plus sport coupe handling and roadability. Inside, rich fabrics cover notch-back seats. The center armrest is standard. Deep cut pile carpeting is featured front and rear. But the real touch of magic is in Buick's new turbo-powered V6. Under normal driving conditions, it performs like a regular V6. But as the engine speed and load increase, the turbocharger cuts in to supply additional power when you need it. See for yourself. Check out the hot team at your Buick dealers of Chicagoland and Northern Indiana today. Test drive the 78 turbo-powered Buick Regal Sport Coupe. You'll want one.
Joe McConnell along with Brad Palmer and company back at Soldier Field in Chicago on a windy day with the threat of rain as the Bears and the Vikings square off here in this key NFC Central Division game. There's no score. The Bears will put the ball in play from their own 8-yard line. Officially a 69-yard punt for Claybo. He was helped by about a 20-yard roll. Bashnagel wide to the near side. Scott standing wide to the left. Hand off to Payton. Going to sweep the right side. And Tries to struggle away from Jeff Wright, the strong safety, and Payton drug him for another yard or two and got to the 11. A pickup of 3. It'll be second down and 7.
Brought down by Jeff Wright. Second and 7 for the Bears.
Schubert in, bringing in a play from the near sidelines, replacing Bashnagel. They'll alternate on every other play at wide receiver.
We can only speculate why the Bears went for a fake field goal from 39 yards out. Keep in mind they were going into a 24-mile-an-hour wind. Maybe they thought also it was early in the game. Why not gamble on going for it?
Slot to the left now. Deuce backfield on second down 7. Avellini with a call. He is yet to throw. And he gives to big Robin Earl, who tries to pick his way and pulls a couple of Vikings up across the 15-yard line off left guard, and Alan Page. And Doug Sutherland brought him down. Page, of course, the soon-to-be lawyer who has missed the opening weeks of fall practice the last 3 years so that he could attend law school. A 6-time All-Pro, now in his 11th season from Notre Dame. Bashnagel back in, replacing Schubert.
Keep in mind the Bears have to win today to stay in the playoff picture, but because of the tiebreaker, they also have to try to beat the Vikings by more than 6 points.
Wide to the left is Scott. Hand off to Payton on 3rd and 2. Runs into his own blocker and managed to get out to the 18-yard line. He was brought down by Jeff Wright again, the strong safety in his 7th season from the University of Minnesota. 5'11", 190-pounder. And it's going to be very close to the first down, and I think he might be a bit shy, depending on where they spot the football.
They will measure in our angle. It's difficult to speculate whether he has or not. It's going to be very, very close. I'd say it's going to be within a matter of inches either way.
Well, that's a nice cop-out. He's got it. All right.
He's got it by the nose of the football by an inch. What do you mean a cop-out?
Close either way. You got to make him one way or the other. The 4th first down in the ball game with the Bears, all on the ground, and Payton now with 53 yards and 7 hauls. Robin Earl has averaged 7 yards a pop on 21 and 3 carries.
That was a big play for the Bears.
Yes,
They would have had to punt deep in their own territory into a strong wind.
Scott wide to the far left side. Bashnagel make that Schubert as a wing to the near right side. A handoff to Earl right up the middle, and he blasts across the 25 to the 26-yard line, carrying Matt Blair with him again before Blair could finally pin him with help from Nate Wright in the secondary. Robin Earl tearing right up the middle, picking up some huge chunks of real estate. The ball across the 26, we'll call it the 27-yard line. A pickup of almost 9 on the play. It's second down and a very long yard.
Boy, that looks soft in the middle of that defense for Minnesota, doesn't it? Robin Earl's had a couple of big gainers, and so has Payton right up that middle.
Slot to the left, I formation now. Payton the deep man, almost hidden by Earl's massiveness. And the give to Earl, and he blasts right up the middle for the first down, carrying up to the 30-yard line. Number 5 for the Bears in their second possession, all on the ground. And the shock troops are doing very well here early in the ball game and controlling the ball. Doug Sutherland with a tackle. First down for the Bears right on their own 30-yard line.
2 games underway in the AFC Central. Cleveland leading the Giants 7-0 first quarter. Cincinnati leading Miami 3-0 first quarter.
Earl with 59 yards last week came into the ball game with a 4.6 average and a net of 142 yards on the ground. Slot right, I formation. Quick pitch to Payton. Cuts back now, loops to the outside, turns the corner to 30. Then steps across the 35, the 40, and out of bounds on the near sideline at about the 43-yard line. Again, the free safety, Paul Krause, the 14-year veteran from Iowa, knocked him out of bounds, and Robin Earl threw a key block.
Indeed he did. Well, you pick up everything, McConnell.
First down for the Bears at the Chicago 41 as Payton lugs it 11 more yards, and Walter now has 64 in the first quarter of play.
That was Jeff Seaman that Robin Earl took out. Allowed Walter to turn the corner.
Slot to the left side now. Bashnagel lining up inside of Scott. I formation. Avellini with a call. And he gives to Payton, coming up the middle across the 45, twisting and squirming to about the 47-yard line. They never do pin him down. They anchor him right there. McNeil, along with Krause and Jimmy Marshall. The 3 of them pin him. And it's across the 46. We'll call it the 47-yard line. It'll be second down and 4, a long 4.
Marshall grabbed him but couldn't bring him down. He carried Marshall about 4 yards. The Vikings are not making crisp tackles.
The one thing about the Vikes, though, they'll yield a lot of yardage, but not too often a lot of points. Slot to the left now. I formation. Second down, 4 yards to go. The Bears just across their own 46-yard line. Quick pitch now to Payton. Cuts back in off the block. Struggles upfield to the 49-yard line. Marshall over the top. Seaman on the bottom making the tackle on the play with help from Eller, who tripped him. And the ball will be spotted at the 49-yard line.
The Vikings are ranked only 14th in total defense. When they played the Bears 5 weeks ago, they were 5th in the league in total defense. So they've been on a decline, but as Joe said, they don't give up many points, an average of only 13 points a game so far. Well, the Bear defense is giving up an average of 24.
They've been beaten bad twice in that span by the Rams and by the St. Louis Cardinals. And in both ball games, their middle linebacker, Jeff Seaman, was not playing. There's a handoff to Payton, and he gets very little yardage. He was spun around at the line and pinned right there.
He actually ran right into his blocker, Reeve Story.
Matt Blair pulled him down short of the first down at the 49.5. We'll call it the 50-yard line. So the Bears are forced to punt on 4th and 2, the ball at the midfield stripe. But at least they got themselves out of a hole.
Yes, they did. They moved from their own 8-yard line out to midfield, so they're going to put the Vikings in bad field position for the second time.
Manfred Moore drops back into punt safety. He was acquired from the 49ers just specifically for kickoff returns and punt return duties. High snap, but Parsons gets it. And gets it away. A booming spiral against that driving wind. Moore lets it bounce at the 5, and it's going to carry into the end zone. Oh, that's a tremendous kick against a 25-mile-an-hour wind. A 50-yard punt by Parsons. And the crowd here thought that Parsons might have been roughed a little bit on the play.
Well, the booing because Steve Schubert didn't down it. He turned his back to it.
Yeah, it looked like he might have had position to get the ball down before it crossed the goal line. And with 4 minutes and 27 seconds left to go here in the first quarter of play at Soldier Field in Chicago, the score, the Bears nothing, the Vikings nothing.
Everyone's looking to find what's best in the things they do and the music they hear. Take on the challenge of Pabst Blue Ribbon. If you're looking for a quality beer, compare our beer with any other. Try us once and you'll discover the best beer taste we're bringing home to you. With Pabst Blue Ribbon, the quality always comes through.
Pabst has a challenge for you. To taste and compare Pabst Blue Ribbon with any other premium beer. You'll never go back to the beer you were drinking, because Blue Ribbon quality means the best tasting beer you can get.
The best beer taste we're bringing home to you. With Pabst Blue Ribbon, the quality always comes through.
Well, a sellout crowd of 57,000 plus, and this game was virtually sold out, lock, stock, and barrel in July, Brad. The Windy City fans here, of course, hoping the Bears would be in playoff contention, and they still are, barely. And, of course, everyone figured the Vikes to be right where they are, in first place in the Central Division.
The Bears have gotten off to a good start, even though the game is scoreless. They have 105 yards to only 12 for the Vikings. Bears 17 plays, Vikings 3.
Rashad wide to the near side, White split wide to the right. Just backfield, hand off to McClanahan, who slips and falls, trying to make the cut. And he got back to the line of scrimmage. The Viking 20-yard line, it'll be second down and 10. Brent McClanahan's first carry. He has gained 224 yards for an average of 3.9 a carry. He's caught 24 passes. Tarkington would go to the running backs most of the time. Foreman with 34 catches, McClanahan with 24, and Robert Miller at third running back with 22 receptions so far this year. Lee will throw long, a lot more than Fran will. Rashad wide to the near side, working against Livers. Wide to the right is White, working against Ellis. Now in motion comes Foreman to the near side. Lee sets up the pass, wings it over the middle, caught by McClanahan at the 25, dumped at the 28-yard line. He was hit by Muckensturm, helped out by Tom Hicks, and they chopped him down before he could get the first down. It'll be third down and 2 yards to go. Pickup of 8 as Bobby Lee completes his first pass of the ball game.
On the step for the Bears.
Muckensturm had a good second half last week against Kansas City. He had a total of 9 tackles in that game, and
one of them was a real big play.
Good pass coverage by Muck. He'll play most of today. Doug Buffone will be in there on occasion. He's only about 65-70% after viral pneumonia.
Third and a deuce for the Vikings. At the Minnesota 28, out of the slotted motion to the near side comes Sammy White. And the give to Chuck Foreman. And I don't know, he got to the 30 and then pushed back, and we'll see where they spot the football. Very, very close to the first down. Tom Hicks.
He looked like he got it. They are setting it right down on the chalk. They got it.
Yes, and I think it was correct placement. First down for the Vikings, and that is their very first down of the ball game, and it comes with 3 minutes left to go in the quarter. No score.
Well, it's a big game for both teams because the Vikings can eliminate the Bears here this afternoon. The Vikings will be in command with a victory today, but it sure throws it up for grabs if the Bears win.
Slot left, deuce backfield. Now in motion to the far right side goes Sammy White. And the give. No, quick square out on the right side to White behind the line. He's to the 30, and gang tackled and swarmed down to the 34-yard line. Hartenstein led the Bear defense along with Muckensturm, the left side linebacker. And a pickup of about 4 on the play. On the screen pass on the right side to the man in motion, Sammy White.
Muckenstern did a good job containing from the outside to allow Hartenstein to get over there to make the tackle. Somebody was trying to stick Muckenstern with a block, but he put it off long enough to contain White. Bears looking good here. I like the way they're coming out today. If they aren't up today, they'll never be up.
Bobby Lee, 3 out of 3 for 16 yards. So far, sticking with the short stuff. Rashad and White are split wide, and they give to Foreman, trying to slide to the right side. He's chopped down behind the line a foot or two. Tom Hicks came in there, and let me tell you, when you run by Ed White and Ron Yeri, you've accomplished something, and those are the two guys trying to block for Chuck Foreman. No gain on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 6 yards to go.
And that means the Bears will go with 5 defensive backs, and Spivey and Buffone coming in, and Hicks and Muckenstern coming out.
The 11-year veteran Doug Buffone will play the linebacker in the pass prevent defense, and, of course, Spivey is the number 2 draft choice out of Colorado as the 5th defensive back. Wide to the near side is Rashad. Double wing right, a slot. Back to pass, Bobby Lee. Rushed, throws, down the near side, and it's almost picked off, intercepted, and dropped. Cutting in front of the intended receiver, Rashad, was Doug Plank, who had a real good shot at making the interception. Fensick was there. Might have been Fensick.
It was Fensick.
And the ball fluttered. He was underthrown.
He claims he was interfered with by Rashad. Great job coming up there by Fensick.
Played it beautifully.
I don't think he was interfered with, but it would have been a great catch. He was on his knees when it got to him.
Osborne put a heavy pass rush on Bobby Lee and forced him to throw up a little bit short. 4th down and 6. Claybo in the punt. 3 men are deep for the Bears, including Schubert in the middle. There's the snap. And there's the kick, and Claybo hammers another spiral. Schubert takes it at the 21, to the 25, to the 30, to the 35, and trips up and dropped at the 38-yard line.
If he wasn't tripped up, he might have gone for 10, 15 more yards.
Robert Miller, reserve running back out of Kansas, made the tackle on the play, and Schubert got a 16-yard return of a 45-yard Neil Claybo punt. And with 1 minute and 12 seconds left to go in the first period, there's time out on the field to score. The Bears nothing, the Vikings nothing.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known.
You can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery.
Delco's Freedom Battery is loaded with sealed-in cranking power, and you never have to add water. See your nearby AC Delco dealer about Freedom and about Delco's other fine batteries. You'll be thankful you did.
In Chicago, visit Al and Pat Auto Parts at 837 Southwestern Avenue or Car Care Incorporated at 5030 North Lincoln Avenue. In Dyer, Indiana, see Price Right Auto at 1950 Hart Street.
All across our land, people know our brand.
You can trust AC.
Thanks, AC.
Spark plugs by AC.
If you need a tune-up, see your nearby AC Delco dealer about AC Fire Ring Spark Plugs. They can help restore your gasoline mileage and performance, and that's something to be thankful for.
AC Delco parts are available at all Barry Tire locations. Barry Tire is located in Chicago, Evanston, Libertyville, and Blue Island. Check the phone listing for the Barry Tire near you.
Joe McConnell along with Brad Palmer back at Soldier Field in Chicago. There's no score in the first quarter of this football game with 1 minute 12 to be played, and the Bears will take over at their own 37-yard line.
Joe, if the Bears can get a first down here, they're going to get the wind at their back in the second quarter. They've got to get a first down, and that'll be the end of the first quarter if they get it.
Slot left, Bashnagel inside of James Scott. Tight end Greg Ladd on the near right side. Deuce backfield of Payton and Earl. And Avellini goes on a cross buck to Walter Payton, and he's tripped up and stopped short of the 40-yard line. Give him the 39. Fred McNeil and Doug Sutherland combining to bring him down. McNeil will play up in that line as part of a 5-man front for Bud Grant's ball club this year. He's a 4th-year linebacker, a 230-pounder out of UCLA, a very articulate young man. He was a number 1 draft choice in 1974. But Matt Blair, who was also drafted that year in the 2nd round, has been their big find. He plays the other side, the left side linebacker. At the slot to the left now, a Schubert in there. Deuce backfield, it's 2nd down 7. The ball just shy of the Bear 40-yard line. Long count by Avellini. And gives to Earl. Tries the right tackle slot and rips across up near the 45-yard line. He stretched out about 4 yards there. Tried to carry a couple more Vikes with him. Matt Blair and Fred McNeil finally brought him down, and they'll spot it at the 44-yard line. A pickup of 4 for Robin Earl. It'll be 3rd down coming up and about 3.5 yards to go.
It would be premature to compare Robin Earl with Larry Zonka, but he runs the ball much the way Larry Zonka did when he had his good years. They both wear number 39. And Robin Earl just goes straight ahead and carries people.
Well, the clock is stopped here with 5 seconds to go, and I believe, yes, the Vikings have called a timeout to stop the clock, and Jeff Seaman, the defensive captain and signal caller for the Vikings, along with Jim Marshall, goes over to check with Bud Grant.
Smart call, because this is third down. There's 5 seconds to go. They got that 24-mile-an-hour wind on this third down play. Otherwise, the Bears would let the clock run out, and they would have had that wind at their back.
Well, at any rate, they're going to be punting with the wind because they've got another down, and with 5 seconds to go, I can't really understand why they would call a timeout at this point.
That's third down.
That's third down, right. So they run the down, the quarter's going to expire, they're going to have the wind anyway.
I was talking about making the first down in this third down play. It's going to be harder under the 24-mile-an-hour wind than with the wind, I think.
They're going to run the ball. They're not going to throw it.
All right. Then you're right. I think they're forcing to run the football.
All right. We really get along, folks.
Well, that's the only way I can justify calling a timeout now. They have to be doing it because of the wind, don't you think?
Well, probably, but I can't even justify it in this case.
All right.
15 seconds to go, maybe. All right, Duck White was in there. Now he leaves. A 5-man front for the Vikes, slot left for the Bears. Deuce backfield to get to Payton on a sweep to the near right side. Cuts back, hurdles one man, gets to the 45, and knocked out of bounds at the 46-yard line. The clock has expired. There's the end of the first quarter of play here at Soldier Field. The score, the Bears nothing, the Minnesota Vikings nothing.
Round, round, get around, I get around. Yeah, get around, round, round, I get around. Get around, round, round, I get around. Get around, round, round.
Bear fans, if you live in the suburbs, there's no better way to get around than on the RTA Commuter Railroad. On many lines, they've added more trains, so the service is even better. Whether you're heading for work or on a shopping trip, you can skip all the hassles of driving by getting aboard a comfortable, convenient commuter train. Relax, read the paper, and get to your destination on time. And when you take the train regularly, the RTA has the best bargain in town. They'll mail you a ticket each month automatically. For information about commuter rail service to your town as well as a ticket application, write to RTA Commuter Rail, 300 North State Street, Chicago, 60610. That's RTA Commuter Rail, 300 North State, Chicago, 60610. You'll get around better on the RTA Commuter Railroad. Old Chicago, the world's most unique and fun-filled amusement park and specialty shopping place, all indoors and open 365 days a year, is having its Sneak a Peek at the Park Festival with new rides, new shows, and a whole new dynamic look. Come be a sidewalk superintendent for the multi-million-dollar improvement program. Come sneak a peek at the park, Old Chicago, I-55 in Bolingbrook.
Well, even though the Bears did not score in the first period, they have picked up 113 yards on the ground. They have yet to throw the ball. The Vikes have 26 yards total offense. Well, Bashnagel, yes, did try a pass on a fake field goal, and he was incomplete on that one. But Avellini has yet to put the ball up. First quarter score, Miami, 7-3 over Cincinnati at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. That's a battle of survival there for both the Bengals and the Dolphins. 3 men deep now for the Vikings, and there's a snap, and Parsons gets away it's a Fuller, a driving kick, and it's fumbled by Graham. Schubert down, a big pileup, but I think the Vikes may have gotten it. No, the Bears say they have it. The Bears have the ball at the 6-yard line as Graham fumbled that punt. A rather odd kick. Steve Schubert got the football, and I wasn't sure he was going to get it or not. I saw him hit the ball, and they went into a pile, and Schubert came up with the football, wrestling it away from Bob Grimm, a former Bear. A 49-yard line driver that started to wobble and all of a sudden straightened out and spiraled, and it was a driving kick, and Grimm went back. It hit him in the shoulder pad of the 6-yard line, bounced out of there. Grimm tried to go for the ball, and as you mentioned, Schubert was on top of it immediately, but I thought it might have rolled out of there. But the Bears have it first and goal to the Vikings 6-yard line. That is the first turnover of the afternoon. Schubert second. Recovered fumble on a punting situation this year. Wing to the left, both ends are in tight. Deuce backfield. The Bears will try to just bash it in. They give to Payton on a sweep to the right side. Gets a block from Sorey. Cuts in at the 5 and down to about the 2-yard line.
Bears going with 2 tight ends that time. Walter Payton, who has 10 touchdowns this year. In fact, he's the only running back, the only non-kicker in the top 10 in scoring in the National Football League. He has 60 points. That puts him 4th.
Second and goal from the 2-yard line, a pickup of 4 for Walter Payton. Eller and Seaman brought him down over on the far side. Second and and goal from the 2-yard line. Schubert is the wing to the right. Both ends are in tight. Deuce backfield. The call now by Avellini. They give to Payton. Tries the right side. Gets down close to the goal line. He's going to be a bit short.
Ooh, they get smothered. Carl L. and all his buddies were right there to stop him about the 1-yard line. What a break for the Bears. Steve Schubert recovering a muff punt at the Minnesota 6-yard line here in the opening minute of the second quarter of play. The Bears at the 1-yard line of Minnesota. No score in the football game. The Bears have dominated, though. They've had the field position so far.
3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Schubert will line up as a wing. They get Bashnagel to the left side. I formation. Earl, the short man. They give to Payton. He hurdles. Touchdown. He should have it. No signal yet. He was high in the air. And apparently they're going to call him short. It looked like he was over the goal line.
The Bears have got to go for it. They've got to win. Even if they miss it, the Vikings are going to have the ball at the goal line with a 24-mile-an-hour wind into their face.
Boy, it looked like Payton was over the goal line.
He was right there, I'll tell you. The Bears are going to go for it.
And they put that ball back almost a yard out. And I know he was inside of that.
Indeed, but, well, it looked like it from here anyway. We've got a bad angle. Those guys are sitting in the goal line, buddy.
Well, that's true, but I'll tell you, he was up over that entire line. It's 4th down and goal, just inside the 1-yard line. Schubert has a wing to the right side, Deuce backfield. The call by Avellini, he dropped the ball on the snap from center, and the Bears will come away empty-handed. I don't believe it. It appeared that Payton had hurdled the goal line on the 3rd down play, and on 4th down, inside the yard line, Mark Avellini appeared to pull away from center a bit too quickly, and the Vikes will have it at their own 1-yard line. Time out on the field. With 13:10 left to go in the first half, it's still 0-0.
Turbo Power. Turbo Power is here in the new 1978 Buick LeSabre Sport Coupe. And it's waiting for you right now at your nearby Buick dealers. Here is a very special car for the young at heart. Drives like a dream. Gives you road-hugging sport coupe handling and performance with power to spare. Thanks to Buick's exclusive new, even-firing, turbo-powered V6 engine. Yet with all its sportiness, the 78 Buick LeSabre Sport Coupe is still a big, luxurious car. It offers you the kind of styling and comfort that pleases even the most demanding new car buyer. New glamorous interiors, soft cushioned fabrics, a newly designed control panel that puts it all at your fingertips. Believe me, there's a lot of science and a little magic in the 1978 Buick LeSabre Sport Coupe. You'll want one from your Buick dealers of Chicagoland and northern Indiana.
Joe McConnell and Brad Palmer back at Soldier Field, and right now it's a very quiet capacity crowd here. Upset, of course, and disappointed because the Bears couldn't take advantage of that great break. But the Vikes will have it now at the 1-yard line. Another one of their typical goal line stands, although they certainly were helped out on the fumbled snap from center on 4th down.
You have to wonder what the Bears have to do to beat these guys. They've had several victories slip away. They had a touchdown slip away right there.
Now let's see if they can hold them inside. The Vikes go with 2 tight ends. Craig on the left side, Boyd on the near right side, wing to the left. Handoff goes to McClanahan. He gets practically nothing. He gets back to the line of scrimmage and is pushed down. He may have gotten a half a yard or so. They just tried to wedge it out a little bit behind Jerry, White, and Singlehoff. Rideouch, who was the anchor of that Bear front four, particularly against the running play, and Gary Fency. The strong safety up behind the line, jamming on the play. It'll be 2nd down and still 10 yards to go. McClanahan has gained 3 yards and 3 carries. Foreman, 8 yards and 3 carries. Now, Bob Tucker, recently acquired from the New York Giants, splits wide to the near side. Both ends are in tight. They're going with 3 tight ends in the lineup. They give the Foreman on a sweep to the left side, and he goes down at about the 5-yard line. Tried to veer it off left tackle and move it to the outside. Rideouch again there along with Newsom.
A gain of 4.
A gain of 4 on the play. The ball at the 5-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 6 now. The Vikings pinned to their own goal line. Lucky to escape without a score against them a moment ago.
Well, the Bears can get good field position if they can hold them on this play. Vikings, be kicking with that 24-mile-an-hour wind. That's going to be a big factor in this football game.
3rd down, 7 yards to go.
3rd down, about 6 yards to go. Tucker wide to the left. Both ends are in tight. Deuce backfield. The Bears crowding up on the line to give to Foreman. And Foreman is going to be hit and buried at the 5-yard line, trying to come to the near right side. And Fensick and Plank were there, along with Muck and Sturman, Hicks, and Hartenstein. They were all in the vicinity. Foreman had no running room at all, and the Bear defense is held. 4th down, still 6 yards to go, and the Vikes will be kicking it away from their own end zone against a 25-mile-an-hour wind.
Plank got up there and made the initial hit from his free safety position. Muck and Sturm helped finish him off.
Well, Claybo got 2 punts away in the first quarter for an average of 57 yards a kick. If he hits one 57 yards this time, it'll be the kick of the year. 3 men deep now. The snap, Claybo gets it away. Line drive kick. And it bounces at the Viking 29. Side hops, rolling to the far side. Picked up by Beisnagel, who runs it out of bounds across the 25 to the 24-yard line. It was only a 24-yard punt. And Beisnagel, as the ball was almost dying on the play, nobody picked it up, scooped it up, and very quickly got another 4 yards as he crossed the 25.
So the Bears are back in business.
Timeout is called with 11:09 to go in the half. The Bears will have this drive starting at the Viking 23-yard line. There's no score in this football game.
The most expensive taste in beer has a name. Ondecker. Ondecker beer. You may not be drinking it now, but you will. Ondecker is not just another expensive beer. Ondecker is the most expensive taste in beer. Because with Ondecker, taste is everything. The most expensive taste in beer comes from the most expensive ingredients. Choice imported hops, special rich malt, and slow, patient aging. You may not be drinking it now, but you will. Because Ondecker is the most expensive taste in beer. And that means something.
Joe McConnell along with Brad Palmer at Soldier Field in Chicago. There's no score in the football game. The Bears will take over at the Viking 24-yard line. They failed on a scoring opportunity a moment ago when a fourth down snap from center rolled awry at the 1-yard line, and with a 25-mile-an-hour wind pinning the Vikings back at their own goal line, they now have excellent field position to the Viking 24. Scott wide to the near side. Bashnagel lined up as a wing to the far right. Deuce backfield. And to give to Robin Earl. Spins away inside the 20. Lunging down to the 16-yard line goes the big 242-pound rookie running back. Paul Krause tripped him up by a shoelace. A nice twisting, spinning run by big Robin Earl, who looks better and better every week.
Fred McNeil tried to grab him with an arm in his right side linebacking spot, but you're not going to stop Robin Earl with an arm. In fact, you're not going to stop him with 2 arms unless you get him down low.
The ball just outside the Viking 17. Second down and 4. Again, the Deuce backfield. And a quick handoff goes to Earl. Tries to change directions and gets across the 15, down maybe as far as the 14-yard line on a straight-ahead power plunge. Marshall and Sutherland there to bring him down.
Bears have had the ball now for 26 plays, only toil for the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears dominating this football game so far, except on the scoreboard. There is no score in the football game with 10:17 to go in the first half.
They move it out to the 15-yard line, making it third down and about 1.5 yards to go.
Bears have yet to pass in this football game, and they won't here.
The Vikes going with an extra down lineman now. Mark Mullaney in, replacing Fred McNeil. Also in for the Bears, Bob Parsons at tight end. Both ends are in tight, wing to the near left side to give to Payton. Hurdles over the right side and gets down to about the 12-yard line, and he leaps over about 4 bodies there, including a couple of his own teammates.
I should say Bob Avellini has yet to pass because Brian Bashnagel attempted a pass off a fake field goal in the opening drive, a 39-yard field goal attempt, which went awry as Bashnagel looked like Gary Yepremian trying to pass the football.
First down for the Bears, just outside the Viking 12-yard line, and for Payton now, 84 yards and 17 carries.
Wow. Cincinnati has regained the lead over Miami, 10-7, second quarter.
High formation. Big Robin Earl, the short man in the eye. Schubert in the slot to the left to give to Payton. And he runs off right tackle inside the 10, carries down to about the 8-yard line.
Well, as you said, the Bears are running against this Minnesota defense. It's doing a lot of bending, but it has yet to break.
Bashnagel back in, replacing Schubert, bringing in an offensive call from the near sidelines and the Bear bench.
Bears looking a little bit like Ohio State did yesterday. They're getting the ball down there, but can they get it into the end zone? Ohio State never did get a touchdown against Michigan.
Blair made the last tackle on the play for the Vikings, and now Nate Allen is in, replacing Bobby Bryant at right cornerback. And the Bears line up in a slot to the left, Deuce backfield. From the 8-yard line, it's second down and about 7. Quick pitch now. Here comes Payton, turning the corner to 10. Runs to the outside of the 5 and is twisted down inside the 4-yard line to about the 3, and Nate Allen made the tackle on the play.
Quick pitch to Walter Payton, who ran around the weak side of the Bear line, side away from the tight end. And we've got somebody hurt down there. Looks like Bashnagel.
Yeah, Brian Bashnagel appears to be shaken up on that play. Bashnagel had his finest ball game last week with 2 fine kickoff returns, an excellent punt return, and he also caught 3 passes, giving him 4 receptions on the year.
Looks like a left ankle, and Bo Rather is already out with the flu.
All right, we've got a temporary timeout here at Soldier Field with 8:32 to go in the half. It's still scoreless. The Bears nothing, the Vikings nothing.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known.
You can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery.
Delco's Freedom Battery is loaded with sealed-in cranking power, and you never have to add water. See your nearby AC Delco dealer about Freedom and about Delco's other fine batteries. You'll be thankful you did.
In Burnham, Illinois, stop in at Burnham Auto Parts. In Aurora, see Indian Trails Auto Parts. And in Elk Grove Village, visit Young's Auto Supply.
All across our land, people know our brand.
You can trust AC.
Thanks, AC.
Spark plugs by AC.
If you need a tune-up, see your nearby AC Delco dealer about AC fire ring spark plugs. They can help restore your gasoline mileage and performance, and that's something to be thankful for.
In Orland Park, stop in at Empire Tire. In Westmont, visit Alco Auto Parts at 41 North Cass. And in Elgin, see J&T Auto Parts on Hindy Street.
Well, Brian Bashnagel appears to have a twisted left ankle. He is out of there now, and we may have a new messenger service for the Bears now. Scott wide to the near side. Schubert is a wing to the right, deuce backfield. At the 4-yard line. Here's the call now. Avellini gives to Payton, running to the right side. Tries to pop to the outside. Still on his feet, down to about the 1.5-yard line. Running to the outside, escaping containment. And Nate Wright tripped him up just when it looked like Payton might turn the corner and bolt into the end zone.
Indeed, Nate Wright saved the touchdown that time for the Vikings, but it's a first down at the Minnesota 1-yard line.
Now the Bears have switched to a running back messenger system as Robin Earl comes out and Johnny Musso comes in.
Make it the 2-yard line. Brian Bashnagel was wincing in pain as he came off. He needed assistance. Tried to walk off on his own, but couldn't do it.
8 first downs for the Bears out on the ground. They're 1.5 yards away on 1st and goal. Musso and Payton in the deuce. Wing to the left is Schubert. Both ends are in tight. On 1st and goal. The give now to Musso, and he is chopped down. He is yanked down at the 1-yard line, trying to slide off left guard and tackle Nate Allen. Submarining in there low. And it'll be 2nd and goal at the Viking 1-yard line, and the Bears can ill afford to squander this one.
Robin Earl coming back into the game as the cheers go up, and Bob Parsons going in there as a second tight end in place of James Scott, the wide receiver.
Just power football. They're going to try to blast it out. They're still about 1.75 yards away. It's 2nd down goal. Light off the tight end on the right side. Parsons on the left. Wing to the left. Deuce backfield on 2nd and goal inside the Viking 2-yard line. Avellini with a call. They give to Payton. Following his blockers. Trying to turn the corner to the right side. Gets in for the touchdown. He just barely got outside of Mark Mullaney, and Reedy Sorey threw the block at the last moment. And Walter turned the corner on the right side and skipped into the end zone for his 11th touchdown of the year. And the Bears finally put 6 points on the board with 6:43 to go in the half. It's 6-0 Chicago.
Reedy Sorey took out 2 Minnesota Vikings that time to allow Payton to turn the corner, putting blocks on both Mullaney and Nate Wright. To give a lot of credit to Reedy Sorey on that scamper as Walter Payton goes in from 1.5 yards out for his 11th touchdown of the year. Here's the extra point.
Bob Thomas, 18 of 20 in the PAT department, but now we've got Vince Evans holding. Reserve quarterback, Bashnagel normally holds. There's a snap, the ball is down, the kick is up, and it is good. And the Bears lead the Minnesota Vikings 7-0 with 6 minutes and 43 seconds left to go in the first half. It took them 8 plays to traverse the 24 yards, but they got it done.
Joe, that extra point came about 5 weeks too late.
Steve Schubert, by the way, is also limping, and I'm not sure what we're liable to see here now. The Bears are down to 2 wide receivers today. Now that Bashnagel is definitely injured, and Schubert may also be hurting.
Well, that's the Bears' kickoff and punt return, man. So the Bears will be in a real bind if neither of those two can return to this game. And with Bo Rather already out, that kind of puts them out of the wide receiver business, doesn't it?
It would appear that way.
Gives them James Scott. I don't know what they would do. Put an extra running back in there or go with 2 tight ends.
Well, 7-0 Bears. With 6:43 left to go in the first half, the Vikings have been completely bottled up so far today, and they may have a little bit of a confidence factor with Tarkenton out now for the rest of the year. First time ever in his 17-year pro career.
Well, this is one of the few times the Bears have jumped out in front in the football game this year, and it's a good sign. The Bears have looked good here today. They've been up for the game. They have dominated the game so far. They wasted one scoring opportunity down on the 1-yard line after trying a fake field goal into a 24-mile-an-hour wind on their first drive.
Well, Bashnagel does indeed have a twisted left ankle, but he could possibly return today if they can work out the soreness on the sidelines.
Wind so strong it just blew the football off the kicking tee, but now we're ready to go.
Payton now with 97 first-half yards on 21 carries, and again the wind blows it off the kicking tee. Manfred Moore is the deep man of the three waiting for the kickoff for the Vikings. Over on the far side is Robert Miller and Nate Allen on the near side. Make that Sammy White, last year's Rookie of the Year. Well, what a find he was. 51 catches for 906 yards and 10 touchdowns this year with 28.
It's blown off a third time, and now it looks like Walter Payton, somebody's going to have to hold it for Thomas.
White is the real big play receiver for the Vikings. 28 grabs for 504 yards and 5 touchdowns this year. That gives him 15 in a year and a half plus. Out of Grambling. Rashad has caught 31, but oddly enough, none for a score. Last year, Brad, he caught 53, but only scored 3 touchdowns.
I think Frank Parkinson makes him look good.
All right, they're holding it now, and Thomas hits it. Boomer going into the end zone, and Manfred Moore lets it bounce 5 yards deep, and it's beyond the end zone. It'll be brought out to the 20-yard line as Thomas, with that 25-mile-an-hour wind, really hammered that one.
Yeah, that gives you an idea how strong the wind is. When's the last time you saw Thomas kick one out of the end zone? On the bounce.
It'll be first down for the Minnesota Vikings, and they'll start their offensive foray at their own 20-yard line, trailing the Bears 7-0.
Vikings' deepest penetration is somewhere around the 35-yard line, their own 35-yard line, so they have yet to move the football. In fact, they only have 1 first down so far.
White wide to the left, Rashad wide to the near side. Deuce backfield of Foreman and McClanahan. Bob Lee, the quarterback. Play action fake, quick slant into Rashad. He makes the diving catch at the 29-yard line in front of Ellis.
Could be holding against Minnesota.
Yeah, flag is down in the vicinity of Riley. Steve Riley, and it is going to be a penalty against the Vikings, so that will nullify that 9-yard pass reception by Ahmed Rashad.
It's going to be their third penalty. You know, the Vikings are living a little, I think, out past reputation. They came into this season off that Super Bowl loss last year, but they've played 4 games against teams with winning records, and they're only 1-3. The Bears have also played 4 teams with winning records. The Bears are also 1-3. There's not too much to separate these two teams, or as much as you might think.
That was not a holding call, Brad. It was an offsides call, a 5-yard penalty. It's 1st and 15. White wide to the near side. Rashad wide to the left, and on a draw goes to Chuck Foreman. And he gets about 3 yards to the 18, and that's all. Rideout tripped him up. Foreman got by him, and Hartenstein and Muckensturm put him down. And they'll mark it at the 19-yard line to pick up a 4. It'll be 2nd down, 11.
Against common opponents, the Bears lost to St. Louis by 3 points in St. Louis. St. Louis blew out the Vikings in Minnesota. The Bears beat the Rams here. Vikings got blown out by the Rams in Los Angeles. Bears lost here to Atlanta. The Vikings beat Atlanta down there by a touchdown in the closing minutes.
White wide to the near side. Foreman in motion out of the deuce to the left now. And back to pass is Bobby Lee on 2nd and 11. He throws it over the middle and a diving catch for the first down at the 32-yard line to Rashad. And that's the Vikings' longest play gainer of the day at the 33-yard line, first down. Virgil Livers was covering on the play, but the ball was thrown perfectly, and Rashad made the catch as he slipped to the AstroTurf.
Bears beat Detroit by 7 points here. The Bears beat Detroit by 10 points. The Vikings beat Detroit by 7.
A 12-yard completion. Slot right, deuce backfield, and lead. A throw on first down. Swings it out the right flat, and it's dropped by McClanahan. The ball was underthrown a bit, and Brent kind of reached down for it, couldn't hang on at the 35-yard line. Incomplete, 2nd down, 10. The Vikes at their own 33-yard line. Bobby Lee is 4 out of 6 now for 28 yards. No quarterback sacks today, and of course, Avellini is yet to attempt the pass.
And to finish that dissertation, the Bears beat Green Bay 26-0 at Green Bay. The Vikings beat Green Bay at Minnesota 19-7.
Well, until last week, the Vikes hadn't blown anybody out. They had to struggle to beat Tampa 9-3. In fact, they were down 3-2 at the half in that one.
Yes, sir.
Rashad split about 5 yards to the left and wide to the near side is White. Back to pass is Bob Lee. Has time. Throws a long one. A lobber down the middle. It should be intercepted by Virgil Livers. It is at the 30-yard line. It was overthrown and sent it for Rashad. Blake was back there along with Livers, and Virgil Livers just came up with his first interception of the year and the 11th for the Bear football team.
Doug Plank was the center fielder that time, and he was helping out, and they had double coverage on the Minnesota receiver that time, and the ball was overthrown, and Livers was there to make the grab. And for Livers, that's his first interception of the year. Had 3 last year.
His 6th in his career.
I recall against the Rams, though, he could have had about 4 interceptions. The Bears intercepted Namath 4 times, and Livers batted down 4 balls in that game.
Well, they mark it at the 27-yard line in Bear territory, first down. Scott wide to the near side. And we'll double-check and see who the wide receiver is on the other side. It's Schubert. And there's a pass by Avellini, caught by Payton out of the near flat. He tries to jitterbug away, gets a couple of blocks, bounces off of one man, gets to the 33-yard line. A lot of hesitating. He looked like a rabbit trying to run the daylight there with everyone converging on him. The ball was thrown behind him, and he had to completely stop and reach back to make the catch. And Page and Allen finally brought him down. Nate Allen and Alan Page.
Would you believe that the Vikings now are minus 14 in giveaway takeaway? That is not the sign of a good football team. In fact, that's the sign of a pretty bad football team. They have committed 14 more turnovers than they have forced. The Bears are now minus 2 in that category with 2 turnovers today by Minnesota.
All right, it's 2nd down and 5. As they picked up 5 on the pass, they give to Payton. Cuts back in across the 35, still scrambling. He is gang tackled and finally swarmed down at about the 37.5-yard line. Jeff Seaman along with Paul Krause. But it's the first down for the Bears, and they pound out another one. They're 9th in the ball game, and that puts Payton over the century mark here in the first half. He now has picked up 102 yards and 22 carries. 22 carries already.
22 carries already. You know, going into that last week, he had never carried more than 24 times in a game. Last week he carried, 33 times, I believe.
Schubert wide to the right, Scott standing wide to the near side. Deuce backfield. First down for the Bears at their own 38. Avellini with a call. Inside handoff, big hole. Payton up the middle to the 50, cuts to the outside of 45, tripped up by Nate Allen as he crosses the 40 and down to the 39-yard line. Paul Krause made the tackle along with Nate Allen. And it's another first down, a 23-yard jump by Payton on a gaping hole up the middle. First down for the Bears on the Vikings 38-yard line, and that gives Payton now 125 yards in the first half of this one. He now has 1,254 yards on the ground this year, and he is just pulling away.
He led the league by 297 yards coming into the game.
171 yards in the first half on the ground for the Bears. Wing to the right, and a give. Goes to Musso, and Musso ducked under a clothesline and got the ball inside the 35 to the 32-yard line. Matt Blair knocked him down. And Musso looked like he almost had his head ripped off on the play.
Payton came into the game with an average of 125 yards a game, and he's already got that here in the first half. 2:52 to go. Bears lead at 7-0.
Earl exchanges places with Musso now as the Bears' wide receiver core has been depleted.
It's also the 7th time in 10 games that Payton has run for 100 yards.
And that ties Rick Caceres' single-season mark for the team. Quick pitch to Payton on the right side. Runs laterally, turns the corner to 35 to the 30. The 25 still on his feet and out of bounds at about the 21-yard line over on the far sideline. Again, Paul Krause running him out with help from Nate Wright and Jeff Seaman. And Reeve Sorey, the pulling guard on the play, threw a key block to spring Walter around the corner. A 12-yard sweep. They mark it at the 22-yard line. There's 137 first half yards on the ground for Walter Payton. Let's pause right now for station identification.
Matters of opinion and critics at large. Informed commentary on News Radio 78, WBBM, Chicago.
First down for the Bears at the Viking 22-yard line. 2:32 to go in the half. Scott wide to the near side, wing to the right. Deuce backfield of Musso and Payton. Avellini with a long count to give to Johnny Musso. The Italian standing gets about 1.5 yards, and a penalty flag is thrown right in the middle of the pile. The Bears have played a relatively perilous football today, but there's an offensive holding call against the Bears. Their first major infraction. That'll be a 10-yard walk-off and spot the ball back at the Viking 32-yard line and make it first down, 20 to go. But if they're going to throw, now would be the time with the wind at their back. Good field position, leading 7-0. Robin Earl back in, replacing the Italian stallion from Alabama, Johnny Musso. Musso had gained 99 yards and 26 carries and 2 touchdowns prior to the action this afternoon. And he has gained 5 yards and 2 carries here, so that's put him over the century mark for the year. Earl has already lugged at 46 yards and 8 carries. Slot to the near left side. I formation. First down, 20. The Bears at the Viking 32-yard line. Avellini is 1 out of 1. A 5-yarder to Payton. On a draw to Payton. Payton cutting laterally. Breaks away. Hit the 25, the 20, and down to the 17-yard line. Walter Payton seemed to be boxed up, but all of a sudden changed changed directions and jolted away from the first tackler. And Paul Krause finally caught up from behind to spill him at the 17.5-yard line.
Jeff Seaman had him dead to rights, and Walter broke the tackle. It was an ankle tackle at that.
Seaman leaves, and Scott Studwell, the 9th-round draft choice for the Vikings out of Illinois, comes in at middle linebacker. And the 2-minute warning now is being given to both coaches, Jack Pardee and Bud Grant. And with 2 minutes to play here in the first half at Soldier Field in Chicago, the score, the Bears 7, the Minnesota Vikings nothing.
Okay, Oklahoma, tell us what you've got.
We've got a great grand opening celebration at Oklahoma service stations and a grand opening promise to all Chicago Bear fans. We promise every time you buy 10 gallons or more of Oklahoma gas, we'll give you a beautiful crystal clear 12.5-ounce glass with an Oklahoma design on it free. We promise to give you one free every time you buy your 10 gallons or more, so you can complete your beautiful tumbler set. We promise to give you your gift tumbler at participating Oklahoma dealers while these glasses last. And we promise to honor your MasterCharge and Visa cards, so you can charge your gas and all your automotive service work at all Oklahoma service stations. So, Chicago Bear fans, what do you say?
Okay, Oklahoma, you're okay.
Well, according to Univac, Dave Milberg, our stat man, the Bears right now have picked up 201 yards rushing so far in the first half. That's their league-leading average per ball game. And Walter Payton right now at 150. 150 yards on the ground for Walter Payton here in the first half. And the ball now at the Viking 18-yard line. It'll be second down, 6 yards to go. The Bears have dominated completely here today and yet lead only 7-0.
Walter may be threatening the NFL record of O.J. Simpson before this game's over, because you know the Bears aren't going to take him out of this game. The Bears have to be aware of the tie-breaking system for division ties, and they need points as well as a victory here.
Slot to the right side. Schubert lining up inside. James Scott, deuce backfield of Earl and Payton. And the give now to Big Robin Earl. And he's going to turn the corner to 15. Bang into a man and down to the 13-yard line he goes. He ran right over Scott Studwell, who still made the tackle with help from Nate Allen and Paul Krause.
Robin Earl does a good job of maintaining his balance. He slid right off a block. He wanted to go over left tackle, but there was no hole there, and he slid right off a blocker and went around left end for a nice gain. So it's going to be third down and about a foot at the 12-yard line.
51 yards for Earl in the first half. The Bears 11 first down to the Vikings 2. Third down and a yard to go at the Viking 13. Receivers split on either side. Deuce backfield of Musso and Payton. Avellini to Walter Payton. Drops the ball, gets back up, and is nailed at the 19-yard line and pushed all the way back out to the 23. He dropped the pitch out, trying to skirt to the right side, and there's a very critical mistake on a third down and short yardage situation. Marshall and Studwell will get credit for the tackle, but Wally was already on the astroturf just trying to keep the handle of the ball. So they'll go for the field goal now. Evans in to hold. Thomas, 9 out of 15 in the three-point department.
It's going to be a 37-yard field goal. Thomas is 7 for 10 inside the 40, but has missed his last two from inside the 40.
Evans will hold at the Viking 27-yard line. There's the snap. The ball is down. The kick is up, and it is good. 37-yarder by Bob Thomas, and the Bears have taken a 10-0 lead here with 43 seconds left to play in the first half. 53 yards and 8 plays, Brad.
Well, the Bears are dominating this football game, and actually the score is misleading. The Bears have missed a couple of good opportunities. They got down to the 1-yard line, didn't come up with a single point. Here they had a third down and a foot to go at the 12-yard line. Fumbled the ball, had to settle for a field goal. They lead the game 10-0. 43 seconds to go in the half. And again, the Bears dominating this football game. Walter Payton already 150 yards, although that fumble is going to cut down his yardage a little bit. They've been going to Payton all day. They have been keeping the ball on the ground. Bob Avellini has passed the ball only one time, and that was to Walter Payton on the flat. Brian Bashnagel tried one pass and a fake field goal in the opening minutes of play as the Bears went for the fake from 39 yards out instead of trying to take their chances against a 24-mile-an-hour wind. The Bears have had good field position. They have simply dominated this football game. It is the best first half we have seen the Bears play, and it could have been better but for a few mistakes.
They're holding now. Thomas hits another driving boomer that's going to go into the end zone. That was 7 yards deep and beyond the end line. So the Vikes will put it in play at the 20-yard line as Thomas hammers 2 deep into the Viking end zone with that prevailing wind. And with 43 seconds to go on the half, Bobby Lee will see what he can do about this 10-0 deficit the Vikings face. Pat Benkowski, our spotter, just pointed out it could very easily be 17 or 21-0 Bears. We just want to win. And, of course, hopefully by more than 6 points. Slot left, deuce backfield. And Lee will hand off to McClanahan. Turns the right corner, cuts back inside, still on his feet, and struggles to about the 22-yard line. Buckensturm was over there. With help from Jim Osborne, they put him down. A gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down 8.
Here's where the Bears want to win by more than 6 points. The Bears wind up in a division tie with the Vikings. The tie-breaking system is first head-to-head competition.
Right.
The Bears and Vikings be 1-1. Next, games within the division. Both would be 4-2. Next, games within the NFC. They figure to be the same there if they wind up in a tie. The next criteria is point differential in head-to-head competition. Minnesota beat the Bears by 6. Bears should try to win by at least 7 today.
This will probably be the final play of the first half. A gain of 3, and Lee is going to let the clock run out. And the gun sounds. The first half is history here at Soldier Field. And as the teams head to the locker room, the Bears lead the Minnesota Vikings 10-0.
Round, round, get around, I get around. Yeah, get around, run, run, I get around. Get around, round, round, I get around.
Want to really get around the Chicago area? Well, the RTA has a get-around kit that's yours free. It has everything you need to help you get around, including a new RTA system map that shows you where you're going. It tells you where you can golf, how to get to the tennis courts, the ball games, riding stables, all kinds of sports. There's information on how to get around to the zoos and parks, the amusement areas, how to get to the museums and other attractions in Chicago. You can do any of these for a fare of only 60 cents. It's all part of the RTA's helping you get around Chicagoland with the RTA transfer. To get your get-around kit, write RTA 300 North State, Chicago 60610. That's RTA 300 North State, Chicago 60610. And now the halftime recap, sponsored by Kaufman and Broad and Gold Eagle Automotive Chemicals. Joe McConnell will have a recap of the scoring right after this.
You know, over the last 20 years, over 100,000 families have chosen new homes built by Kaufman and Broad. And they've done it for some pretty good reasons. Like an unwavering insistence on quality design, workmanship, and materials. Like in-depth community and environmental planning. Like an ongoing research program to conserve energy and improve construction methods. Why not visit a Kaufman and Broad home community today and discover for yourself why your family will love a Kaufman and Broad home?
For example, at Provincetown and Country Club Hills, in addition to the exceptional 3- and 4-bedroom townhomes, residents enjoy membership in the Provincetown Swimming Pool, Tennis Club, and fully equipped clubhouse. Prices start at just $43,490, and VA conventional and flexible mortgage payment plans are available. Furnished Provincetown models are open today on Crawford Avenue, just south of 183rd Street. For information, call Kaufman and Broad at 799-5652.
Joe McConnell along with Brad Palmer back at Soldier Field. We're here at halftime. The Chicago Bears are enjoying a 10-0 lead over their adversaries from Minnesota. Pointing and gesturing at Noah Jackson.
Kansas. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Kansas City has held Denver scoreless in the first quarter. No score now. They're in the second quarter. And Baltimore has just scored on a 53-yard pass from Burt Jones to Raymond Chester, but they missed the extra point. Baltimore leads the Jets 6-3 first quarter.
3rd down and 2 now. The Bears at their own 45. Both ends are in tight. It's Parsons on the left side. Play action fake. Back to pass. Avellini pumps once, and he's going to be going down at the 35-yard line. A sack by Carl Eller and Doug Sutherland. And I don't know. The way they've been running the ball today, why in the world would you pass on 3rd and 2? But Avellini sacked there for the 15th time this season. That's the first Viking quarterback sack today. And it's back to the Bear 35, and they're forced to punt again.
Well, I guess they're trying to keep the Minnesota defense honest. Minnesota stopped them on a similar play right on the last play of the first half when the Bears tried to run it. That's when I thought they should have passed it.
Well, now Parsons will have to deliver the ball in against the wind with 7:40 to go in the third period.
Only the 18th sack given up by the Bears.
Dan Neal in the center. It's a good one. There's the kick, and this time Parsons got it away. A floater to the right side, and Manfred Moore makes the catch and is hit immediately at the 32-yard line. Lenny Waltersheim down to make the tackle on the play. A 33-yard Neal Claybo punt against the wind, no return. The Vikes will have it at their own 33-yard line. There's timeout on the field. With 7:24 to go in the third period here in Chicago, the score. The Bears 10, the Vikings 7.
Round, round, get around, I get around. Yeah, get around, run, run, I get around. Get around, round, round, I
suburbs, there's no better way to get around than on the RTA commuter railroad. On many lines, they've added more trains, so the service is even better. Whether you're heading for work or on a shopping trip, you can skip all the hassles of driving by getting aboard a comfortable, convenient commuter train. Relax, read the paper, and get to your destination on time. And when you take the train regularly, the RTA has the best bargain in town. They'll mail you a ticket each month automatically. For information about commuter rail service to your town as well as a ticket application, write to RTA Commuter Rail, 300 North State Street, Chicago, 60610. That's RTA Commuter Rail, 300 North State, Chicago, 60610. You'll get around better on the RTA Commuter Railroad.
Joe McConnell and Brad Palmer back at Soldier Field in Chicago. Another capacity crowd in excess of 57,000 watching as the Bears try to derail the Vikings. Chicago leading 10-7 here in the third period, and the Vikes will have it at the Minnesota 33.
Minnesota's offense has not gone beyond its own 43-yard line. The Vikings getting their 7 points on a block punt.
Deuce backfield, slot to the left. Sammy White inside of Ahmed Rashad. And the play-action fake and a pass out of the left flat. Now to Rashad looking for a block, and he is hustled out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Fine play by Virgil Livers, who at 5'8 and a half, 175 pounds, wouldn't be intimidated.
It's getting very overcast now and threatening here. We're supposed to have snow flurries this evening. The temperature is at 52 degrees, but the barometer is falling.
Well, the wind is going to have to shift around. It's out of the south right now, and that's what's keeping the temperatures mild here today.
At the 36.
All right. Vikes line it up. Wide receiver on either side, Deuce backfield. Second down 8. Vikes their own 35. They give it a cross buck to McClanahan, and he goes about 2 to the 37-yard line before he's yanked down. Osborne and Muckensturm there along with Terry Fencing. And it'll be third down and 6 yards to go. The Vikes just at the 37-yard line in Minnesota territory.
I'll get it 2 yards.
Boy, they have been shut down all day, and yet the Bears lead by only 3. Muckensturm and Hicks come out as Buffon and Spivey come in now on the pass prevent defense for the Bears.
It's the only time Buffon has played in this pass prevent defense.
Rashad wide to the right, White in the slot to the right. Deuce backfield, and Lee will throw on 3rd and 6. The rush is on by Buffon, throws it out there, tipped up in the air, and almost intercepted, but Hartenstein couldn't get the angle on it, and a penalty flag is thrown, and there's going to be a holding call against the Vikings, but the Bears will probably be happy to let this one go because it'll be 4th down and 6 yards to go.
Not probably, I'm sure they will.
Buffon came in on the linebacker blitz that time and really put the heat on Bobby Lee, and Hartenstein almost had the interception in the Viking backfield.
He deflected it high into the air, and actually it was between Hartenstein and one of the Viking receivers once that ball went into the air like a volleyball.
All right, Walter Scheid and Plank will guard the corners, and Schubert drops back at the Bear 20-yard line awaiting the Claybo punt.
Looks like the wind is picking up.
Regular jet stream here. There's the snap, there's no rush. There's the kick. And a low line driving kick, but Schubert lets it bounce at the 15, and it carries into the end zone on the first hop. Bounced like a golf ball off that AstroTurf. And so Claybo, a 63-yard punt into the end zone. The Bears will have it at the Chicago 20 when play is resumed. But timeout is called. With 6.5 minutes to go in the third, the score remains. The Bears 10, the Vikes 7.
This is the 25th year that Checker Oil Company has been selling good gas for less. And this year, we decided to chat with our customers right at the pump and to thank them for filling up at Checker.
What is your name, sir? Storacco, Ben Storacco. Are you a regular Checker gas? We come down here quite often. In fact, it's the first time this car's going to get Checker gas.
I see, sir.
We just got the car. It's got 18 miles on there.
Great. I'd like you to meet somebody today. This is the president of Checker Gas.
Oh.
Right here.
How you doing, sir?
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. I'll tell you what, these people here are nice.
We appreciate your saying that. This is our 25th anniversary. We'd like you to help us celebrate by saying our slogan for us.
Checker for 25 years. It's been a gas.
We asked our customers why they drive in to fill up with Checker.
Whenever I'm in the area, I like to stop in and get it because I know that gas is good quality and nice low prices.
Good gas at nice low prices. Yes, sir. Checker. For 25 years, it's been a gas.
Well, an important possession now for the Bears. Who lead 10-7. They'll start play at the Chicago 20-yard line, Brad.
And we've got 6:30 to go, so the Bears will have the wind in their face for that much time, and then they'll have the wind at their back. But, you know, it's so important, not only for the Bears to win today, but to also win by, well, at least 6 points. Because of that tiebreaker. The 6 points the Vikings got on that fake field goal in overtime is almost worth a game. It is worth a game if they wind up in a two-way tie.
Slot to the left now. Deuce backfield of Payton and Earl. And to give to Walter Payton. And he runs right into Carl Ellers. He tries to cut to the right side, and he gets 2 yards to the 22-yard line.
Denver leads Kansas City 7-0 in the second quarter. You know, that's why I kind of want Detroit to win today, because it's a possibility of a three-way tie. And if there's a three-way tie, then it throws out that tiebreaker point differential between teams in head-to-head competition. It would throw out that Viking 6-point deal. And the Bears would have a big edge in point differential within the division.
Well, if you're going to hope, why not hope for the whole ball of wax? Well, Schubert wide to the left, Scott standing wide to the near side. There's a screen pass out of the right side to Scott, but he cannot run by Matt Blair, who forces him out of bounds. At the Bear 26-yard line, there were 3 blockers in front. Latta, Piper, and Lick were all in front with Sorey over there, but Blair was behind the wedge. And James Scott couldn't clear him on the near sideline. It'll be 3rd down and 4 yards to go.
Joe, even if the Bears win today, though, it's going to be very difficult for them to win the division outright because they'll still trail Minnesota by a game. Now, okay, let's say Minnesota loses at Oakland. Now they are tied. They both have to go to Detroit. And the Bears have a tougher time in Detroit than the Vikings do.
3rd down, 4 yards to go. Quick count on a draw to Payton. He tries to scoot away, and he's tripped up and dropped as he ran into one of his own blockers trying to get outside containment. Seaman got him to the ankle, and Walter was yanked down at the 25-yard line. A loss of a yard, it'll be 4th down and 5, and the Bears all of a sudden are having trouble. Jim Marshall also helped out Seaman on the play. Jim Marshall in his 246th consecutive game, the National Football League record. 5:22 to go. And Parsons will punt again. Back in single safety is Manfred Moore. The Vikes will rush 10 men. Look at Blair trying to line up at a place where he can get a clear shot. Oh, he is something. Neal with the snap. There's the kick. The rush is on. He just barely got it away. A high-floating kick will go nowhere in the teeth of that wind. Taken by Manfred Moore on a gambling move at his own 47. He crosses the 50 and is dumped at the Bear 48-yard line.
Football right in the crowd.
Muckensturm was there along with Campbell to bring him down. A 28-yard punt with a high floater into that wind was held up short with no roll, and Manfred Moore running under that one under full head of steam made the catch in a crowd and got 5 yards on the return. And the Vikes, for the first time all day, have it offensively on the Bear side of the 50-yard line. And to give, and a big hole, McClanahan up the middle, spins away at the 40 and gets knocked down at the 35, maybe the 34-yard line. A trap up the middle. Wayman Bryant made the tackle on the play with help from Gary Fensick. But there's the longest ground gain of the afternoon for the Vikes across the Bear 35 to the 34-yard line. And with 4:39 to go now in the third period, the Vikings are driving. Rashad comes wide to the near side. White split wide to the right. Deuce backfield to McClanahan and Foreman. And to give now to Brent McClanahan again. Tries the right side and gets gag tackled, and he'll be held up at the 32-yard line. And we have a little extracurricular activity there between Jimmy Osborne and Eddie White of the Vikings.
Brent McClanahan came into this game with only 224 yards. He starts opposite Chuck Foreman. Well, Foreman carries the ball for on 52% of the Vikings running plays. McClanahan has only carried the ball 17% of the time. The Bears have a little more balance between Payton and Harper, at least before Payton got hurt. Payton carries the ball roughly 52% of the time, and Harper 37% of the time. That's before Payton went out with that sprained knee.
You mean Harper?
I'm sorry.
In motion goes White. Tucker's in at tight end now. There's a play-action fake. Lee drops back to pass. Now lobs it over the middle. Tucker has it at the 10, to the 5, to the 3-yard line. First and goal. The play-action fake, and Bob Tucker, who was acquired from the New York Giants, was an all-pro at tight end a couple of years ago. Gathered that one in over his shoulder. Doug Plank knocked him sprawling. First and goal for the Vikes at the Bear 2.5-yard line.
3-yard line.
Plank saved the touchdown that time with that tackle. Muckensturm was on Bob Grimm that time, and Grimm got behind him.
All right, first down and goal for the Vikes. That was the 6th catch of the year for Bob Tucker, who caught a winning touchdown pass a couple of weeks ago in the Atlanta game. Wing to the right, both ends are in tight to get to Chuck Foreman, and he is knocked down just as he tried to hurdle over the line. Jerry Myers in there now in the front four defensively for the Bears. Made the tackle on the play. A gain of about a yard. It's at the 2-yard line, second and goal.
Boy, Myers sacrificed his body that time and plugging up that hole, and he just dived into the hole before Foreman could get there.
All right, White out, Wes Hamilton in. Hamilton, a second-year pro, was the starter the first half of the year while Ed White had contractual problems with the Vikes. Wing to the right, Deuce backfield. The Vikes like to throw in this type of situation. It's second and goal from the 2-yard line. And there's a collision in the backfield. And Lee gets nailed at the 3-yard line as he collided with his running back, Bob Miller.
No, Keller.
All right, Tom Hicks made the tackle on the play.
He handed off to Mark Keller, and Keller bobbled the ball right back into the arms of Bob Lee. It was a fortunate break for the Vikings as they muffed that handoff.
The ball now at the 3-yard line. Fencing back in along with Plank and Livers. As the Bears pull Spivey, Myers, and Reeves. All kinds of wheels turning now on both sidelines. It's 3rd and goal at the Bear 3-yard line. Steve Craig at tight end out of Northwestern. Wide to the near side. It's a double wing formation. Double wing left. And Lee, quick jump pass in the middle. Intercepted. Intercepted by Hicks. And he gets back out to the 9-yard line. What a play. A jump pass right over the middle. And Tom Hicks was there in front of the Viking receiver and picked it off about a yard deep into the end zone and brought it back out to the 9-yard line. What a turnaround for the Bears. Tommy Hicks in his second year out of Illinois with his first big league interception. And what a play it was. And the Bears have it at the 9-yard line. Still leading the game 10-7.
Boy, there is a break. A great play by Hicks. He's good back there on pass defense. As soon as Lee made a quick jump pass, it looked like it was going to be 7 points. There was Hicks.
It was intended for Bob Tucker. All right, slot to the left, Deuce backfield. And the give now to Payton on a sweep to the right side. Tried to squirt through. Break one tackle. He's on his feet at the 15, the 20, the 25, the 30. And finally stilled by Nate Lake. And Fred McNeil coming down the near sidelines. He was one step from going all the way. A 22-yard gain by Payton sweeping to the right side. He broke a tackle right at the line of scrimmage. And the Bears are out of the hole at the Chicago 31-yard line.
Vikings have turned the ball over 3 times now. Bob Lee has been intercepted twice, once by Livers, but that was the big one by Tom Hicks as the Vikings looked like they were going to take the lead. Bears now on the move.
192 yards, rushing for Walter Payton. Schubert a wing to the left, Scott wide to the near side, Deuce backfield. And to give to Johnny Musso, big hole across the 35, up near the 38 or 9-yard line. Straight ahead off left guard and tackle, and Paul Krause and Jeff Wright, the 2 safeties, bring down the Italian stallion.
If the Bears win this game, that interception by Tom Hicks may very well turn out to be the turning point.
Oh, yes.
Seconds winding down now in the first third quarter of play. The Bears will be getting the win in about 40 seconds.
All right, the Bears out of the huddle. Schubert tries to motion the crowd to quiet down a bit so they can hear the signal. Slot to the near right side. And again to Walter Payton. He's to the 40 and chopped down. He couldn't get outside that time, and Fred McNeil came across along with Jeff Seaman to pin him. And the ball will be swatted at the Bear 40-yard line.
3rd and a yard to go. Tampa Bay leads Detroit 7-3 in the third quarter at Pontiac. New Orleans now leads Atlanta 7-3, second quarter at the Superdome. Cincinnati out in front of Miami 13-7 third quarter. And Baltimore leads the Jets 9-3 second quarter. Right here, it's the Bears 10, Minnesota 7. 1 second to go. There's the end of the quarter.
The end of the quarter, the Bears will have the wind at their backs in the fourth period. And after 3 here at Soldier Field, the score. The Chicago Bears 10, the Minnesota Vikings 7.
For many years, the Buick dealers of Chicagoland and northern Indiana have offered you a car for every need and every pocketbook. And they still do. Only now, your choice is greater than ever. For example, your Buick dealer's new 1978 Century line is really fantastic. 10 different Century models, 4 new coupes alone. From the practical, down-to-earth Century Special to the top-of-the-line Century Sport Coupe. But the most outstanding feature of these new Century models is a new aerodynamic fastback design. A European look without sacrificing room, comfort, or ride. And because the Buick Century has a new 108-inch wheelbase, it's a pleasure to drive and park in city traffic. There's just no other car like it. See your Buick dealer and drive one for the fun of it. You'll discover a lot of science and a little magic in every Buick Century for 1978. You'll want one.
Joe McConnell and Brad Palmer back at Soldier Field, where we begin the fourth period of play. The Vikes trailing the Bears 10-7 in this very, very important NFC Central Division game. And now third period score from Detroit, Tampa Bay hanging on to a 7-3 lead over the Lions. The Bears have rushed for 256 yards in 3 quarters of this football game. They've passed for only 10. And Walter Payton on 34 carries, matching his number, has picked up 193 yards. Break the huddle. now. On third down, a yard to go at the Chicago 40. Both ends are in sight. Parsons is in there to block. Schubert has a wing to the right. Deuce backfield. Long count by Avellini. And to give to Payton. Going to try to sweep the right side and try to spin away. He does, and he lunges out near the 45-yard line. And only a shoestring tackle by Nate Wright. They have prevented Walter from, again, breaking a huge gainer.
Wright hit him before he got the first down, but Walter carried him 2 yards to get the first down.
Well, Walter Payton now with 200 yards in the ball game. The second time he has reached that mark this year. The team record is 205, which he tied with Gale Sayers at Green Bay 3 weeks ago.
Actually carried right about almost 4 yards, didn't he?
Yeah. First down for the Bears at their own 44-yard line. Wide to the near side is Scott. A handoff to Musso. No, fake, and a pass down the right side. Caught! At the 38-yard line. Beautiful fake. Scott made the diving grab over there against Nate Wright. And I'll tell you what, Avellini had me faked out of the ballpark on that one.
Well, speak for yourself.
He didn't have me faked out, so he threw the ball, and I thought I was going to Musso. It went over his head, and I thought, what's he doing? And there's Scott right behind Musso on the sideline, and
That's the Bears haven't done much passing at all. What's that, the first pass, second pass this half?
Well, for the game, Avellini is 3 out of 4 for 28 yards. That was an 18-yard pickup, first down to the Viking 37. Avellini, inside handoff to Payton, and he tries to split out of there and runs right between two Vikings, Seaman and Wright, and gets to the 33-yard line. A pickup of 4. It'll be second down. And 4 yards to go, and Payton now officially 201. I guess I jumped the gun a carry. So he's just gone over the 200-yard mark. He is 4 yards away from the single-game Bear rushing record, which he himself owns a piece of, along with Gale Sayers.
New England leads Buffalo 6-0, third quarter.
Slot left, Deuce backfield on second down 6. The Bears at the Viking 33-yard line. And Avellini gives to Earl, and Earl is really stonewalled by Fred McNeil on a crossbuck.
Fred was waiting for him, all right.
Make that Musso. Musso instead of Earl. And the ball is still at the 33. And here comes Robin Earl in, Musso out. Let's pause right now for station identification.
We give you the business 28 times each weekday on News Radio 78, WBBM, Chicago.
All right, it'll be third down and still 6 yards to go. The Bears at the Viking 33. Schubert comes wide to the near side. Scott wide to the right. Deuce backfield of Earl and Payton. And Avellini will throw. Has time over the middle. And it's caught by big Robin Earl. He gets inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. He's going to be about a yard short of the first down, it appears. Jeff Wright, with help from Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker, finally wrestled big Robin Earl down. He's going to be about a yard shy of the first down.
Now, they've got the wind at their back. The fans want to go. If the Bears go for the field goal, it'll be a 45-yard field goal, but they need a yard for the first down. I got to think they're going to go for it.
They're going to go for the first down. Here comes Musso, bringing in a play for the bench.
Musso and Earl are shuffling into plays now that Brian Bashninkle is out for the game with an ankle injury. Went out midway in the first half. Schubert in there, wide receiver opposite Scott.
Oh, this is a big play here. Fourth down, a yard to go. The Bears just inside the Viking 29. Slot right, high formation. Avellini. And a busted play, and he's going to lose yardage. He is dumped at the 30-yard line. He turned around to hand the ball off, and nobody was there. Brad Blair made the tackle on the play, but that was simply a busted play, and Noah Jackson, in frustration, slams his arms down at his side as he leads the offensive unit to the near sideline.
It looked like Walter Payton was the man he was going to hand off to. It looked like he went back to give it to the second back in the eye, and that was Payton. And Payton wasn't there. He had gone into the line.
All right, timeout called with 11:29 to go. Here in Chicago, the score remains. The Bears 10, the Vikings 7.
On Decker beer. You may not be drinking it now, but you will. On Decker. You may not think a beer this expensive could be worth the extra money, but you will. On Decker. Brewed with a special rich malt, flavored with the finest of imported choice hops, patiently, properly aged. You don't know what a difference that makes, but you will. On Decker, the most expensive taste in beer. If you're not drinking it now, you will. On Decker, the most expensive taste in beer.
McConnell and Brad Palmer back at Soldier Field in Chicago with the Bears hanging tenaciously on to a 10-7 lead. The Vikes now take over at their own 30-yard line. We have 11 minutes and 29 seconds left to play.
Well, both teams are making mistakes, and they're key mistakes. The Vikings muffed a punt, which gave the Bears a touchdown. The Bears have missed a couple of good opportunities, including on the preceding play.
And Lee rolls to the right, wants to throw into the middle, and it is caught beautifully at the 40-yard line by Stu Voigt, the tight end, who is the most sure-handed receiver on the Viking ball club, as that one almost squirted through. Wayman Bryant made the tackle on the play, and it's just shy of a 10-yard gain. It'll be second down and less than a yard. Lee rolling to his right, connecting with Voigt. That's Stu's first catch today, and his 16th on the season. An 8-year veteran out of Wisconsin. White wide to the near side. Rashad split wide to the left. And the Bears going to stun a little bit. To give now to Foreman. Tries to turn the corner. Gets away from Wayman Bryant. Still on his feet. And gets rolled out of bounds at about the 42.5-yard line. He got the first down as Doug Plank and Virgil Ivers came over to chase him out into the Viking bench. First down for the Vikes.
It'd be nice if the Bears could hold them here because they would force the Vikings to punt into that wind and get some decent field position. The Vikings now moving out toward midfield. Baltimore leads the Jets now 12-3 in the second quarter. Baltimore with a touchdown and 2 field goals. They missed their extra point.
A 3-yard pickup by Chuck Foreman gives him 23 and 9 carries today. Wide to the left is White. Wide to the near side is Rashad. Deuce backfield to McClanahan and Foreman. And on a cross buck to give to McClanahan, runs right into about 3 Bears and gets a yard as he tried to angle from right to left. And he ran right into Hartenstein, Rydalch, and Newsom.
Osborne, too.
The whole front 4 was waiting for him. It'll be second down and 9. McClanahan is the leading ground gainer for the Vikes today, now with 24 yards and 9 carries. Now, they actually say no gain. He actually gained almost a yard. White wide to the near side. Rashad split about 5 yards to the left. Lee drops back to pass on second down and 10. Throws a long one down over the middle, and it's dropped by Rashad. It was stripped away at the last minute by Virgil Ivers at the Bear 26-yard line.
Yes, it was. He was beat a step on the play, but he made contact just as the ball got to the receiver to break it up.
Third down and a short 10. The Vikes at their own 43-yard line. An excellent defensive play by Virgil Ivers, who pinned Rashad's arms to his chest just as the ball got there. Now Bobby Grimm comes in, possibly bringing a play in.
From the Bears' standpoint, there are 3 key plays that have worked against them. The block punt where Minnesota got its touchdown. Bears fumbled the ball on the Minnesota 1-yard line. And then they missed the first down here just moments ago because of a busted play.
They've had 3 busted fourth down plays. Slot right, wide receiver to the left. Back to pass. Lee on third down. Scrambling, going to be sacked at the 37-yard line. Number 2 in the day for the Bears, and Ron Rydalch got him. That's Ron's 6th quarterback sack of the year. Hartenstein also got a piece.
The Vikings have now been sacked 25 times on the year. The Bears quarterbacks have been sacked 18 times.
Fourth down. And about 15 yards to go for the Vikes as they lost a good 6 on the play. And Clavo in the punt against this wind. Schubert is back with Plank and Walter Scheid guarding the corner. There's the snap. And there's the punt. And it's a low end-over-ender. And it's taken by Plank at the 27 to the 30, the 35, the 40, the 45. And head first, he falls over. Jeff Seaman to pick up another couple of yards up to the 48-yard line. Good hard-nosed play by the strong safety, Doug Plank. 9:39 to go in the fourth period here. Timeout is called with a score remaining. The Bears 10, the Vikes 7.
Ski-Doo for 1978. This is the year to go do it. Ski-Doo lets you do it without dropping a bundle. Elan, a whole lot of sled for not a whole lot of money. Light enough to float over powder, yet a full-size Ski-Doo. The lightweight 1978 Elan. And for just a few dollars more, Ski-Doo Olympic, the all-time most popular sled in snowmobile history. Most models equipped with the sensational torque reaction slide suspension. For 1978, 2 popular priced ways to do it. Elan, the lightweight champ. Olympic, the lively legend. Now at your Ski-Doo dealer, ask about our new 2-season warranty. Get on Ski-Doo and go do it.
Joe McConnell and Brad Palmer back back at Soldier Field. That was a 36-yard Neil Claybo punt and a 21-yard return by Doug Plank, the free safety for the Bears, and the Bears will have it at the Chicago 49.
The Dolphins and Bengals have one going at Cincinnati. Cincinnati now trails Miami 14-13 in the third quarter. Cincinnati needs a victory there in that tight AFC Central race. They are one game behind Pittsburgh and Cleveland.
And, of course, Miami hoping for a wild card bid or a possible share of a conference championship. They're one game behind Baltimore. Slot left, deuce backfield. First down for the Bears. And to give now to Robin Earl. And he muscles his way across the 50 to the Viking 48-yard line, carrying a couple of white shirts with him, Fred McNeil and Jim Marshall.
Buffalo is now going out in front of New England, 7-6 in the third quarter.
Wouldn't that be something if they knocked them off twice this year?
That would be something.
Earl out, Musso back in it, running back for the Bears. Second down and 7.
Atlanta has regained the lead against the Saints, 10-7, second quarter. Bartkowski passing for the touchdown.
Scott wide to the right, Schubert split wide to the near side. I formation. Payton the deep man, Musso the short man in the eye. Long count by Avellini at the Viking 48. And play action pass. Rolls to his right. Pumps once, now throws it, and it's going to be picked off by Nate Wright. Intercepted and out of bounds at the 37-yard line in Viking territory as he was all over the intended receiver, James Scott. And there's the first interception thrown by Avellini today, his 12th of the year, and that's the first Bear turnover this afternoon. Timeout is called with 8:52 to go in the game. The score remains the Bears 10, the Vikings 7.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known. You can trust us, Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery.
Delco's Freedom Battery is loaded with sealed-in cranking power, and you never have to add water. See your nearby AC Delco dealer about Freedom and about Delco's other fine batteries. You'll be thankful you did.
In Chicago, see Diversity Auto at 5049 West Diversity. In Palos Hills, see Highway Auto on Southwest Highway. And in Cicero, see Al's Auto Graveyard at 6101 West Ogden.
All across our land, people know our brand. You can trust AC.
Thanks, AC.
Spark Plus by AC.
If you need a tune-up, see your nearby AC Delco dealer about AC Fire Ring Spark Plugs. They can help restore your gasoline mileage and performance, and that's something to be thankful for.
In Chicago, see Southside Auto at 330 West 47. In Chicago, also see F&D Auto at 3210 South Halstead. And see National Auto at 4720 South Cottage Grove.
Well, Brian Bashnagel back on the sidelines at street clothes, and it doesn't look too good as far as Brian and the Bears are concerned, as far as his injury status is concerned, Brad.
The statistics do not reflect the score. For the Bears, 298 yards, Minnesota 129.
And off to Chuck Foreman, and he'll try the right side and get a couple of yards before he's spun down at about the 39. It'll be second down 8. Mike Hartenstein and Ron Rideout on the tackle, along with Muckenstern.
Now the Bears, 298 yards, 265 has come on the ground. Brian really looked like he was hurting when he came off the field there in the second quarter, I think it was. He was really wincing in pain, couldn't put any pressure on the left ankle at all.
All right, Sammy Johnson now has replaced Chuck Foreman in the backfield, and he lines up with McClanahan. Slot left, and McClanahan comes in motion to the right. Bobby Lee, pump action fake, handoff and an end around to Sammy Johnson at the 40, cuts back at the 45 to the 47-yard line. It was knocked down by Billy Newsom. The old Statue of Liberty play with the running back lurking behind the quarterback, the pump fake by Lee, and the handoff to Sammy Johnson. He got the first down.
First and 10 for Minnesota.
And the Vikes have it at their own 47-yard line.
It was a sneaky play, too, because he didn't come from the other side. He came from this side, went around behind Lee, and then came back this side again.
First down to the Vikes on their own 47-yard line. Rashad wide to the near side. Sammy White split wide to the left to give to Brent McClanahan. He's anchored right at the line of scrimmage. Tom Hicks waiting for him with help from Hartenstein. No place to go. Second down 10.
Baltimore well on its way to its ninth victory against one loss. Closely the Jets 19-3. They already lead Miami by one game in the AFC East. Miami leads Cincinnati 14-13 in the third quarter.
All right, the Vikes put in 2 new running backs. And Bob Tucker at tight end. And they have Robert Miller and Chuck Foreman now lining up behind Bob Lee. Sammy White wide to the near side. Split wide to the left is Rashad. Second down and 10. Back to pass is Lee. Quick square out on the left side. Miller makes the catch. No, he dropped it. Went right through his hand to the 50-yard line over on the left flat.
He heard footsteps, and Wyman Bryant was a good 4 or 5 yards away from him when he dropped the ball.
Yeah, that was a simple matter of him trying to run before he had it.
Yes, he would have made the first down had he hung on to it.
In comes the phone and Spivey as the Bears go to their pass prevent defense on 3rd down and 10.
Big play here. Big play because the Vikings, if they miss here, will have to punt into that wind again. And the people punting into the wind are averaging around 28, 30 yards.
Tucker is back in at tight end. Lee is 8 of 17 for 83 yards and has suffered 2 interceptions. Bobby Grimm wide to the near side. Slot to the left. It's a double wing formation. Foreman the only setback. And to give to Chuck Foreman to the 50, to the 45. And he's on his feet down to the 40. Carries a couple of Bears to the 37-yard line. His best running effort of the afternoon. Wayman Bryant will help from a couple of others. Doug Plank and Gary Fetzick finally wrestle him down. A 16-yard jolt by Foreman up the middle, and the Vikes are in business at the Chicago Bears 38-yard line.
Yes, they are. This is only the second time their offense has moved the football in the Chicago Bear territory. Actually, the last time they were in Bear territory, they got the ball at the Bear 48-yard line thanks to a punt. Their touchdown came on a blocked punt by Matt Blair.
White wide to the near side. Rashad split wide to the left, I formation. Play action fake, back to pass. Lee looking, scrambling, still on his feet, rolls to the right, big chase. He throws on the run, and he throws it up in the air, and it's tipped out of bounds by Allen Ellis. There were 3 Bears surrounding Chuck Foreman at the Bear 20-yard line.
He looked like Tarkenton there, didn't he?
A little bit.
Philadelphia leads St. Louis 6-0 in the second quarter. Buffalo now in front of New England, only 7-6 in the fourth quarter of play. And right here at Soldier Field, we've got 6 minutes and 32 seconds to go in the game, or at least in regulation time. And the Bears lead Minnesota 10-7. Minnesota with the ball at the Bear 39-yard line. You don't think we're going to go into overtime, do you, Joe? Let's hope not.
I hope not. Osborne put a lot of pressure along with Hartenstein on Bobby Lee, and they wound up wiping each other out on their attempt. Slot left, deuce backfield. 2nd down 10. Now coming in motion to the near side is Sammy White. Lee will throw. Being rushed. Throws it out the left flat. Nobody home. Intended for Sammy Johnson. They set up a screen on the left flat and let Newsom and Osborne in. They put the heat on Lee, and Sammy Johnson was the intended receiver over on the left flat with a couple of blockers out in front, but the ball was thrown away. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Charlie Goodrum was screaming for a pass interference call against Rydalls, who tripped over a Bear lineman and almost threw himself into the back of the Viking receiver. He was kind of close at that.
3rd down, 10 yards to go. The Vikes on the Chicago Bear 39. Rashad wide to the left, White in the slot. Grimm is split wide to the near side. One setback is Sammy Johnson. And back to pass is Bobby Lee. Looking, squares it out on the left side to Sammy Johnson. He's to the 40, and he tries to get away, still on his feet, and wrestles down to about the 37-yard line. Wayman Bryant was there, couldn't quite mop him up, and finally got help from Ron Rydell to bring him down. A gain of 2 on the play. It'll be 4th down and 8. And Lee looks over on the sidelines. They're going to send the Claybo kicking unit in, hoping, of course, that Neal can knock this one out of bounds near the Bear goal line. 6 minutes remaining in the football game. The Bears leading 10-7. The only Viking point on a blocked punt by Matt Blair, who scooped it up at the 10-yard line and walked in with it. Claybo into punt. 3 men are deep for the Bears. They'll let this one go. There's the snap. And there's the kick by Claybo, and it doesn't, well, now it's going to hang up there. It bounces at the 10 and goes into the end zone. So the Bears will have it at the 20-yard line. Claybo tried to hit that one out of bounds over in the far left-hand corner and couldn't quite make it. A 37-yard punt. The Bears will take over at the Chicago 20.
Break for the Bears. Actually only 17 yards difference in field position with that punt with the touchback. Vikings are at the 37. The Bears get it at the 20-yard line. They've got the wind at their back, a 3-point lead, 5:38 to go in the football game.
They need to sustain an offensive drive now and use up that clock and regain their excellent field position.
It would also help if they could get 3 more points.
Wide to the right is Scott. Schubert in the wing to the left side. The backs are split about 5 yards, and the handoff goes to Robin Earl, and he's anchored right at the line of scrimmage. Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker, in there low to knock him down. Seaman, a class athlete from Stanford, has been to the Pro Bowl twice, now in his 6th year. Musso in, bringing in a play from Jack Pardee and Sid Gilman. They gave Earl a yard on that play. It's at the 21. It's 2nd and 9.
I do not think you're going to see the Bears play conservative football. I think they're going to try. They got a long way to go, but they've got to be thinking field goal here.
Slot right, I formation. Here's a call now by Avellini from his own 21-yard line. The Vikes cheat up a bit. Quick pitch now to Payton. Cuts off the inside of the block to the 25. Wrestles out to the 30-yard line where Jeff Wright finally caught him around the helmet and rolled him down. Good power run by Walter Payton running to the right side. And Krause and Wright finally wrestle him down, and it's going to be close to the first down.
I'm pretty sure he got the first down.
Well, let's see where they spot the football. I'm not quite so sure, Brad.
Nope. They got it, but they spotted the football shorter than I thought they would, I'll tell you that. Say, Detroit now has gone out in front of Tampa Bay. 9-7 in the fourth quarter. 9-7. They must have missed the extra point. Yeah, they did.
Oh.
Well, the Vikings...
Tampa Bay can kick a field goal.
Vikings only beat Tampa 9-3.
Wide to the left is Scott. Schubert, the wing back to the right. First down for the Bears on their own 30-yard line. Avellini with another long count. And the give to big Robin Earl. Runs right into Alan Page and gets about 2. It'll be second down and 8. And for Robin Earl, that's 57 yards and 14 carries. Payton now with 210 yards in 37 carries, and that last 9-yard play a moment ago puts Walter in the Bear record books by himself. He just broke his own and Gale Sayers' single-game rushing record.
So it's the second 200-yard game this year for Walter Payton, and the 7th time he has run for at least 100 yards.
And that ties him with Rick Caceres for a single-season record for the Bears. Less than 4 minutes to go now. It's second down, 8, the Bears at their own 32-yard line. They give to Walter again. Breaks to the outside of the 40, to the 45, the 50, the 45, the 40. He's down the far-side line. He's got 2 men to beat, and he gets 5 and a 10 and out of bounds. Walter Payton, 1 step from going all the way. Nate Wright finally came over from an angle that just barely tipped him up out of bounds.
A sensational run because he had to get around Nate Wright and Paul Krause. I didn't know how he could do it, but somehow he sped past both of them after hurtling somebody at the line of scrimmage.
A 59-yard run. That gives Payton now 269 yards. He is 4 yards away from O.J. Simpson's league record of 273 set against the Lions last Thanksgiving Day in Detroit.
They're on their feet at Soldier Field.
3:37 to go. Bears lead it 10-7. They need points, though, because of the possibility of a division tie.
First down and goal from the 9-yard line. Deuce backfield, wing to the right. And the give to Robin Earl. And he tried to turn the corner and gets the yard. Marshall and Krause were there to spin him down. It'll be second and goal from the Viking 8-yard line.
If the Bears wind up in a division tie with the Minnesota Vikings, a two-way tie, and they get 6 points, beat them by 6 points today, the next tiebreaker is the best average point differential within the division. And the Bears have a pretty good edge in that department right now because they beat Detroit worse than the Vikings did. They did the same with Green Bay. And, of course, the Vikings just barely got Tampa Bay.
All right, it's second and goal. Payton out for one play is back in. He has 268 yards, 5 away from the all-time NFL single-game rushing record. He might get it on this carry. Turns the corner and gets down to the 5 and is rolled out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. They're going to mark it just at the 5-yard line. Alan Page wrestled him out. A gain of 3 for Walter Payton. That gives him 271 yards. 2 away from O.J. Simpson. Single-game rushing record.
Incredible. Cincinnati has regained the lead against Miami. They lead 16-14, third quarter. New England leads Buffalo 13-7, fourth quarter. Less than 3 minutes to go now at Soldier Field, and the Bears knocking at the door at the 5-yard line of Minnesota.
Third and goal from the Viking 5-yard line. Musso and Payton in the deuce. Walter on the left side. Scott foot wide to the near side. Schubert a wing to the right. The call now by Avellini. And play action fake looks like a busted play again, and Avellini's going to be dumped at the 6-yard line and thrown all the way back. That is the 4th busted play for the Bears today. Fred McNeil grabbed a hold of him as it looked almost like a rerun of the play earlier. As Avellini turned the hand off and nobody was there.
Fourth down, they'll go for a field goal. This field goal could be worth 1 game in the standings. So I'm going back to the possibility.
Now, wait a minute, they haven't sent in Thomas yet. But they may try to run this clock down and take a 5-yard penalty. Robin Earl is back out there, and the Bears apparently are going to go for it.
Very curious.
They're at the 6-yard line. The clock continues to wind down. 9 seconds to get the play off. 2:25 to go in the game. Slap to the left. Fourth down, goal from the 6-yard line. Deuce backfield. Avellini to Payton on a sweep to the right side. Needs a block. He cuts back into the 5 and struggles down to about the 2-yard line. Well, there's the rushing record. Walter Payton becomes the all-time single-game rushing leader in the NFL, but he failed to come up with a touchdown. Seaman and Sutherland wrestled him down at the 2-yard line, and the Vikes will have it.
Well,
275 yards for Walter Payton.
I
I can't say I don't understand what the Bears did. I'm just saying it's rather curious. They didn't go for the 3 points to take a 6-point lead. Although they do have the Vikings down their own 2-yard line and against the wind. Bears, of course, thinking first things first. They got to have a victory before they worry about beating a team by so many points.
All right, the Vikes have it at their own 2-yard line. Rashad wide to the left, White coming back in motion on the near right side, and Lee rolls to his right to throw out of his own end zone. Looking, lodges it to the left side, and it's caught at the 11-yard line by Rashad, who's jolted out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Boy, he had all day back there.
Virgil Livers ran him out of bounds with a shoulder block, and they pick up 8 on the play. It'll be second down and 2 yards to go, and the 2-minute warning now is being given to both benches with a score. The Bears 10, the Minnesota Vikings 7.
Here's a question for you car buffs. Which new 78 has the whole town talking? The answer? Regal, the new Buick Regal Sport Coupe with Buick's exclusive new turbo-powered V6 engine. People are talking about Regal's beautiful classic line with luxury car elegance and appointment. They're surprised at how comfortable and roomy it is for a mid-sized car. And they're raving about Regal's new 3.8-liter turbo-powered V6 power plant. There's no other engine like it, and only Buick's got it. What are they saying about Regal's driving performance? Many are amazed at its roadability and handling, the way it hugs the road, turns, and corners like a sports car. In fact, it's been said that the turbo-powered Buick Regal Sport Coupe may prove to be the best car on the road in 1978. See for yourself. You'll find a lot of science and a little magic in the new 78 Regal Sport Coupe. And you'll want one from your Buick dealer of Chicagoland and northern Indiana.
John McConnell and Brad Palmer back at Soldier Field. Well, regardless of the outcome of this football game, the Bears have led it all the way. History has been made here today as Walter Payton has rushed for 275 yards, and that is a new single-game rushing record for the National Football League, and Payton has carried it 40 times to get those 275 yards.
Joe, by not going for the 3 points and the field goal, the Bears are in effect putting themselves in a bad position playoff-wise, because even if they win all the remaining games now, even if they beat Detroit Thanksgiving Day in Detroit, the Minnesota Vikings would have to lose 2 more football games for the Bears to have a shot at the playoffs, because the Vikings right now have the edge in any tiebreaker.
All right, it's second down and 2. The Vikes at their own 10-yard line. Rashad wide to the near side. White split wide to the far left side. McClanahan and Foreman in the deuce, and they give now to Chuck Foreman. He doesn't get it. He got a yard, and that's it. It'll be 3rd and 1. A big play now for the Bear defensive unit. The whole center of that line was in on the stop, led by James Osborne.
A big play. If the Bears get the football, I hope they drive for the field goal. Philadelphia is upsetting the Cardinals 9-0 at St. Louis. The Cardinals a wild card leader.
Well, they just announced Walter Payton breaking O.J. Simpson's single-game rushing record for the National Football League. And many of his Bear teammates come over to pound him and congratulate him on the Bear bench in front of us here. It's a mob scene. However, the defensive unit has to remember it's 3rd and 1 now for the Vikes on their own 11-yard line. This game is not over yet with 1:34 to go. The clock continues to run down. Double tied in alignment with Boyd as a wing to the right. They give to Foreman. He's got the first down out across the 15. Still on his feet. Carries the Bear with him across the 20 to the 22-yard line. First down for the Vikes. Timeout is called with 1:23 remaining. We'll be back in a moment.
Okay, Oklahoma, tell us what you've got.
We've got a great grand opening celebration at Oklahoma service stations and a grand opening promise to all Chicago Bear fans. We promise every time you buy 10 gallons or more of Oklahoma gas, we'll give you a beautiful crystal clear 12.5-ounce glass with an Oklahoma design on it free. We promise to give you one free every time you buy your 10 gallons or more, so you can complete your beautiful tumbler set. We promise to give you your gift tumbler at participating Oklahoma dealers while these glasses last. And we promise to honor your MasterCharge and Visa cards, so you can charge your gas and all your automotive service work at all Oklahoma service stations. So, Chicago Bear fans, what do you say?
Okay, Oklahoma, you're okay.
All right, the Bears now are putting in Buffon and Spivey, and it looks like they're going to go into a prevent defense here now with 1:23 remaining in the game. The Vikes have the ball first down at the Minnesota 22-yard line. There again, Brad, I don't want to beat a dead horse, so to speak, but I don't like that prevent defense. You give up too many yards, and the Vikes, of course, could tie it with a field goal.
Yes, they could.
Sammy White comes out wide to the near side. Bob Tucker tight end and split in the slot to the near side. Rashad is wide to the left. Deuce backfield. Bobby Lee at quarterback. Drops back to pass. Has time. Has all day. Now throws it out the right side. Caught by McClanahan. He's to the 30 and out of bounds to the 33-yard line. Driven out of there into the end of the Bear bench by Gary Fencing. And it's another Viking first down with an 11-yard pickup. And they stopped the clock with 1:16 to go. So they used up only 7 seconds.
Because if the Bears win this game by 3 points, right now, even with the victory, their chances are a little diminished. Their chances would have been dead if they lost this football game. Don't misunderstand me. But their chances are diminished now because of the tiebreaker. Their best chance now is a 3-way tie between Detroit, Minnesota, and the Bears.
Rashad wide to the left, White wide to the near side. And Lee rolls to his left now, being rushed by the phone. He's going to turn the corner to 30. Throws on the move. He was over the line of scrimmage, and it's intercepted. Virgil Liver. Out of bounds. He's out of bounds, and it looked like he was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw it. The line was at 33, and Lee was at least at the 34-yard line. And apparently there is a penalty flag over there.
I thought he was, too. And Livers was out of bounds on the interception. That's what it was, Joe. He was
beyond the line of scrimmage.
Atlanta leads New Orleans 13-7 second quarter. Cleveland leads the Giants 14-7 third quarter. Right here we've got 1:08 to go, and the Bears lead the Vikings 10-7. Now the Vikings have the ball on their own 34-yard line, and like a 33-yard line, and it's a 5-yard walk-off to the 29-yard line. Looks like a 4-yard walk-off.
Yeah, I think he walked it off from the point of the violation. It's actually a 4-yard penalty because Lee was a step beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw the ball. Apparently it's 5 yards from the infraction.
And lost of down, of course.
All right, second down and 15. The Vikings at their own 29-yard line. Deuce backfield, wide to the left is Rashad, wide to the near side is Sammy White. He goes in motion back towards the line. Now straightens up downfield as Lee rolls to his right, lobs it down the middle, incomplete, nobody home. Knocked down on the play was Robert Miller, but the ball was already long gone. It'll be third down and 15. The Vikings their own 29-yard line with 1:03 remaining. The Bears hanging on to a 10-7 lead in a ball game that really they should have had locked up by now.
Well, they certainly should have 17 points by now. They had a busted play on the 1-yard line earlier, and they passed a I can't say sure field goal because you're playing the Minnesota Vikings and Matt Blair, but they passed up a field goal, which would have given them a 6-point lead. Moments to go.
All right, third down, 15. Big play for the Vikes. Rashad wide to the far left side, White wide to the near side. And Lee again sets up the pass. Again has time. Now looking, grabbed by Rideout, gets away, throws on the move, and it's caught at the 41-yard line, short of the first down. A great catch in heavy traffic by Sammy White, who was nailed immediately by Doug Plank, and Sammy apparently has twisted an ankle on the play.
And Bob Lee is shaken up. He's hurt an ankle on the play as well.
Well, it's going to be fourth down and about 2.5 yards to go for the Vikes. Make it 2 yards as they spotted at the Minnesota 42-yard line. There's 49 seconds to go in the game. Jerry Myers comes in replacing Jeff Stevie at defensive end for the Bears.
Lee is hurting. It's his right ankle, the same ankle that Fran Parkinson broke. Actually broke a bone just above the ankle, the fibula.
And the number 1 draft choice out of Rice, rookie Tommy Kramer, loosens up in a hurry on the far sidelines for the Vikings now. We're faced with a fourth down in 2 situations. Oh, they're measuring, and they're closer than that. They're fourth down at about 3 inches. They actually only had
for the Vikings, number 19, Bob Lee.
Sure gave the Vikings the benefit of the doubt, didn't they?
Yeah, I lost the marker there. I thought the series started at the 34-yard line. Instead, it was a 32, and it's going to be fourth down and less than a foot.
Denver and Kansas City tied 7-7 second quarter, and the Patriots now out in front of Buffalo handle a 20-7 in the fourth quarter. 20-7 Atlanta over New Orleans in the second quarter.
Now here comes their fleet of tight ends, Tucker, Boyd, and Craig. The Vikes will obviously line up with a triple tight end alignment. One of them, Craig, will be lined up as a wing. And Bobby Lee is still down, now laying back in pain and looking now towards the rest of the year. The Vikes are mighty precarious with that quarterback position with Tarkenton out for the season and Lee shaken up. You know, he broke a finger in his throwing hand in a brief appearance in that disaster out in Los Angeles and was out for about 3 or 4 weeks. And this was actually his first appearance since then. He's being helped off by team trainer Fred Zamberletti in the team position over there. And now Kramer comes into the ball game along with Chuck Foreman. They've got 3 tight ends in there. It's going to be 4th down and less than a yard. The Vikes almost to their own 43-yard line. We've got 49 seconds left to play. The Bears leading 10-7. They line it up with a wing to the right. Deuce backfield. Mark Keller is also in there. They're crowded up close. Tommy Kramer gives to Chuck Foreman. He got the first down off right guard and tackle to the 45. Now the Vikes stop the clock with 45 seconds to go. Tom Hicks and Gary Fensick made the tackle on the play for the Bear defensive unit. And now it's time to go to the drawing board for the Vikings.
Oh, is that their first timeout? I don't know if they were charged for that other one or not, if it was an official timeout or what.
Well, we'll double check. I'm not sure either.
Miami has just gone back in front of Cincinnati 17-16 in the final quarter. Boy, I hate to say it, but that field goal the Bears didn't go for, I think, is going to loom large as this season continues.
Well, it was a judgment call, and the only thing I can think of is the fact that in order to win the football game, Jack Pardee may have felt that the Bears were better off keeping the ball down near the Viking goal line and trying to bottle up the defense. The Vikings are out of timeout. That is a third and final Vikings second half timeout, so they're down to 45 seconds, period. 45 seconds to go. The Vikes at the Minnesota 45-yard line. Let's hope we don't have a repeat of last Sunday here the other way. It's 10-7 Chicago.
Tough spot for the rookie Kramer.
Kramer, by the way, in a couple of brief appearances, has completed 5 of 9 for 60 yards. His first big league touchdown last week in relief of Tarkington against the Bengals. White wide to the near side. The shot wide to the left. Kramer back to pass. Almost flipped. He wings it downfield. Yes, and it's intercepted! It's intercepted by Alan Ellis on the near sideline, but that should just about seal it. Alan Ellis cutting in front of Danny White. Good at way to pick off his 5th interception of the year. The 4th Viking turnover, the 3rd Bear interception of the afternoon. Boy, he literally stole that ball away from Sammy White, and he's being congratulated by the entire Bear bench.
Well, I said it was a tough spot for the rookie Tommy Kramer, and it turned out to be. 1 play, 1 interception. The Bears had the ball, 38 seconds to go. Now they can kill the clock, but will they go for a field goal? They've got the wind at the back.
Wing to the right, Deuce backfield. First down now for the Bears at their own 42, and Avellini's simply going to fall on the ball, and that should just about do it. The clock will run down now with 30 seconds to go. The Bears hanging on to a 10-7 lead, and it looks like they're going to gain a split for the Vikes. But that touchdown in overtime on the fake field goal will give the Vikings the point edge between the two ball clubs this year in case it does wind up in a tie. Well, a win is a win, and it's a big one for the Bears. This marks the first time this year that the Bears have won 2 straight. They'll be a 500 ball club at 5-5. The Vikings will drop to 6-4. The Bears will be 1 game away as they go in against the Detroit Lions at the Silverdome next Thursday. The game is over, and the Bears have beaten the Minnesota Vikings behind a record-breaking performance of Walter Payton. 10-7 the final here at Soldier Field.
Round, round, get around, I get around. Yeah, get around, round, round, I get around. Get around, round, round, I get around. Get around, round, round.
Want to really get around the Chicago area? Well, the RTA has a get-around kit that's yours free. It has everything you need to help you get around, including a new RTA system map that shows you where you're going. It tells you where you can golf, how to get to the tennis courts, the ball games, riding stables, all kinds of sports. There's information on how to get around to the zoos and parks, the amusement areas, how to get to the museums and other attractions in Chicago. You can do any of these for a fare of only 60 cents. It's all part of the RTA's helping you get around Chicagoland with the RTA transfer. To get your get-around kit, write RTA 300 North State, Chicago 60610. That's RTA 300 North State, Chicago 60610.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known. You can trust us, Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery.
Delco's Freedom Battery is loaded with sealed-in cranking power, and you never have to add water. See your nearby AC Delco dealer about Freedom and about Delco's other fine batteries. You'll be thankful you did.
In Chicago, visit Sims Auto Parts at 5100 South Michigan or 47th Street Auto at 4943 West 47th Street. In Griffith, Indiana, see Griffith Auto Parts on Broad Street.
All across our land, people know our brand. You can trust AC. Thanks, AC. Spark plugs by AC.
If you need a tune-up, see your nearby AC Delco dealer about AC fire ring spark plugs. They can help restore your gasoline mileage and performance, and that's something to be thankful for.
In South Holland, see Holland Auto Parts at 526 East 162nd. In Gary, see Broadway Auto at 1989 Broadway. And in Calumet Park, see Cal Park Auto at 1552 West 127. Today's game between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings has been sponsored by the RTA, the